Does the black moon howl?
Only for those with an unwavering desire to hear the truth.
Access granted.
You have been selected for an opportunity, an orientation as a trusted associate, if you will, into the secured, contained, and protected files of the Foundation. SCP Unredacted distributes new files for review Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern on secure channels on YouTube, Spotify, and scp-unredacted.captivate.fm.
Hey there, SCP fans. My name is Grigori Karpin, and this is Simply Creative People, the show about SCP creatives, be they authors, artists, or off-site content creators like YouTube and TikTok. We're focused on bridging the gap between various fans and serving as an introduction to different concepts and stories on the wiki. So, many welcomes to all, and let's get started. Okay, welcome back to Simply Creative People. My name is Grigori Karpin, author on the wiki, joined by my co-host.
Oh, I do know this, but I am HarryBlanking.
Okay, so, and we're gathered by two guests today. We've got DarkStuff returning.
Oh, it sounds like one guest now.
Oh, yeah. He just died. Okay, anyway, and for the first time, we have Nico, whose username is Uncle Nicolini, but hello.
Hello.
So
Uncle Nicolini and DarkStuff, amazing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Finally achieved it. We achieved the ultimate dream team for this episode.
Inside baseball talk, we've been trying to set this up for a good 12 months, but we're finally here, and
Yay!
We couldn't think of any two people that would be better to talk about Wilson's wildlife.
We tried really hard, but we decided it had to be these two people.
That's right. Yeah. It was like, well, if they can't do it, let's not. Let's do something.
No,
else.
that didn't actually happen. The reason we did Wilson's last, which is like the most popular by far of all the GOIs, is, as far as we were concerned, if we could possibly do it with the two of you, there was no way to get anybody else. Like, there would be no point. This is the most possible option. So we just put it off until the end when serendipitously you're all available.
Yeah, we still have a couple more I want to do, but we're pretty much at the end,
We're very, very close to the end, especially for how popular this GOI is, but there's no point in doing it without these two guests, so I'm very pleased that we got it.
You're making me make a lot of faces that I can't really make noises for on a podcast, but I am very elated by this information.
I don't know.
And all the things you're saying.
I've recently discovered that people really like being praised, and so it's very easy to do that, because
butter
all
up
the
the
people we
guests.
have are awesome.
Yeah, I think we
make them loosen their lips.
I think we got to the point where, like, Davey Fool was like genuinely uncomfortable with how much we were kissing his ass. Because I mean, Harry and I are just such fucking big fans that it was just like, I can't help it.
Yeah, we were Wayne's Worlding all over him.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
But, I mean, to be fair, I'm a big fan of you guys and DarkStuff.
Yeah,
we're all mutual. We're all mutual fans. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
We have three co-authors from 6500.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Part of the gang is back.
Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, let's DarkStuff, if you don't mind, kind of giving your little spiel. Like, what we had you on before for Wondertainment, but this is your other like big passion on the wiki, right?
It is. It is. So, just want me to like give cliff notes on Wilson's wildlife? Do you want me to give like history of it or a little bit? Or?
In a second, but just introduce yourself. Maybe plug your music.
Maybe even a second before that, I just like to say that I can hear Nico's speakers through Nico's microphone.
Oh, Nico,
that is true.
Do you have headphones?
I do. Give me a second.
Okay.
Taking a bullet for the team. What a hero.
Are we gonna edit this part out?
No.
Nah.
The beauty of it is just the extemporaneous nature of the evolving situation.
Listen, I work 50 to 60 hours a week. The less I have to edit, the better.
We're not editing. We don't edit shit around here. We just make jokes about it. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Okay, is that any better?
Atmosphere. That's excellent. Hello, Nick.
Yes.
Hello.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just had you guys on way too high.
No, that's good.
That must be terrible. I'd be horrified for that.
So, I'm DarkStuff. I am the creator of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, with a little asterisk. We'll get to that later. Thank you, Rimple. And
just a little rimple in there.
just a little rimple in the story.
I'm glad you understood where I was going with that, because it was a really, really loose one that didn't work really well. Thank you for helping.
I think it worked perfectly fine. But Wilson's Wildlife Solutions is pretty much my baby, and it was honestly such a large success that I had like a post creating Wilson's Wildlife Solutions like depression.
Yeah.
Where not like, oh, I can't do anything that big again, just like I made it. Like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
I already did the big thing.
Right.
So that's kind of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions legacy in my life. I met someone recently. I went to a party and I met someone and I was like, oh yeah, I'm an SCP author. And they were like, oh sweet, I read SCP. And I was like, yeah, I'm the creator of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. And they like actually did like a jaw drop moment. And I was just like, I can't fucking believe that I've ever done anything in my life that could lead to a moment like this. Like, I truly don't even know how to feel about it. I mean, I feel good about it, but like what? I don't know. It's weird.
I had that happen in like September or August. I went to this writers conference about like learning how to publish and doing that kind of stuff. And somebody was like, "Well, what's your experience with writing?" And I just like explained, and they're like, "Oh, I know SCP. What like anything I would have heard of?" And I'm like, well, you know, me and some friends wrote this thing that was really long." They're like, "Wait, 6,500?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up." What do you mean? You knew it off the top of your head? I mean, I know it's the longest one, but Jesus, it was a very surreal.
Man, I remember when 1730 was the longest one.
We win.
It's okay. It still feels longer.
Okay.
I don't have any fun stories like this because, you know, since starting to write for the wiki, I haven't gone out in public. So I'm sure as soon as I do, people will recognize me for a while.
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah. The reason you can't go out in public is because you'll just be flocked by paparazzi.
Right, that's the entire thing. Like,
they'll be like, you won SCP.
Oh my God, is that HarryBlank? The HarryBlank?
I recognize your eyebrows.
I was going to say you have such an iconic profile picture.
Speaking of introducing people,
yes,
I introduced
Nico.
myself. Our other guest, Nico.
Hi, I'm Nico, otherwise known as Uncle Nicolini. I didn't create Wilson's Wildlife, but I guess I helped make it popular. I did a lot of writing for it when it was really young, and I really believed in it when it was really young. And I also, with DarkStuff, created Faewin Wilson, who is the first trans character on the SCP Wiki to get a tag, which is cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
And also, I helped make her popular too. She's transcended us.
Yes,
Indeed.
Yeah, I am also in awe that like Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, it makes sense, at least now, that like I wrote them, but now I don't have to write them for them to continue being written about. Every time I return to the wiki, there's just more Wilson's Wildlife articles, and I'm like, okay, I've accepted this as fact. But it's wild to me also that like the characters that we've made for Wilson's Wildlife get almost just as much love. Like, it's not just the like nebulous concept of Wilson's Wildlife. Like, people know Tim Wilson, Faewin Wilson, and to a lesser extent the other members of the Wilson family. Mostly the other members are just name drops. They don't really have concrete characters in other people's works, but still, they like, people know, and that's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's real success.
It's ridiculous.
That's one of those things that you say out loud.
We do here. These are the chronicles of Ridic here.
Oh,
I think
goodness.
I think Faewin Wilson is probably the thing I'm the most proud of on the wiki. Like, there's fire suppression department, there's Dr. Everwood, but I think Faewin is the one I'm the most proud of.
Faewin fucks, so
very wide recognition.
Well, I just did like a little search, and there's 138 articles tagged with Wilson's Wildlife.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And
It
I
is
mean, the Wilson's
pretty
Wildlife GOI format is the only GOI format that pulls SCP numbers. Period.
that's true.
Like, if you were to take the kind of article you could write for this SCP Wiki that would do well, SCP and Wilson's Wildlife are beside each other, and then there's like Tales. Like Wilson's is more popular than Tales, like by 3 times as much. You publish a Wilson's article, people will read it like it's an SCP, and that's insane. There's nothing else that comes close to that. Parawatch almost, but not quite.
Yeah. I think my second or third ever plus 200 article was a Wilson's Wildlife GOI format.
That's awesome. It's just awesome because it just encouraged people to like break out of the mold of reading or writing stuff that's not just SCP. So,
for sure.
And also, I want to say before we even get into it, the thing that I think one of the reasons this is so popular is there's so many, grimdark or scary or whatever types of toned articles there's very few of the GOIs that are it's just genuinely fucking wholesome. Oftentimes there's a humor involved with it, but sometimes it's not even, there's no punchline. It's just, this is just a fucking wholesome, like rewarding thing that you can sink your teeth into. And that's got, a lot of people were probably pretty sick of the grimdark stuff by the time this had come out.
Grimdark stuff.
You'd be surprised there's people that still only come here for the grimdark stuff.
Well, I'm not surprised by that at all.
I remember when
I don't know. I think they mostly go to YouTube.
I remember when Wilson's Wildlife was just taking off. There were people who hated it just because they were friendly to the Foundation, and it was like, what? That's such a weird thing to get hung up on.
There is a tale. It tickles me so much. I genuinely love it. I've upvoted it and commented. There's a tale that's literally just an SCP agent going and setting fire to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, just burning it to the ground. It is so funny to me. And like I know that at some point a different person, a separate person, was like in the critique channel shopping around a draft. I don't even remember what it was, but it was like another Fall of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions article, and the person like stated like that they did not like the GOI, and that was the motivation for the article. I
wasn't aware of this kind of thing.
It's great. It's honestly
I'm not
so
surprised.
fun.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Anything that like even slightly bucks the trend. I mean, like when you were on the last time, we talked about Entertainment and how that was pretty controversial in some ways, at different points in the, I mean, Victim has had the same thing. Anything that's not, it's a spooky dark thing from the past, or it's, science fiction, has gotten, I mean, anything that even slightly breaks the mold these days. You've got someone on the internet going like, this isn't the way it's supposed to be.
And I think just to be very even-handed here, the SCP part of this trend is just that the wiki is so big now that basically anything is going to receive some backlash because we actually have quite a varied community. I know there are people who are very tired of the grimdark stuff, the type of people who are very into wildlife solutions, that I don't think they typically have the very like, this isn't how it's supposed to be, to like new grimdark stuff, but there is kind of some like apathy of just like, yep. More of this. So there's some factions. There's some people on both sides. I think.
I mean, luckily there's room for all
showed
of
up
it.
behind dark stuff there.
Oh yeah,
that's what I was
not hear it.
For.
I don't think it's dark stuff.
The dog barking?
Yeah.
No, I hear that through my
she's
speakers.
in the distance. I'm sorry.
No, it's
not good.
Well, the bait and switch. I thought it was supposed to be dark stuff who had the dog barking, and now you've got the dog barking. Oh, I hope you both get the dogs barking at the same time. That would be so good.
I don't have a dog. What dog are you talking about?
Yeah, that was Nico.
They confused it with my dog. I was the one who went to go put her up.
I've already lost the plot, and it's been like 20 minutes.
Awesome. On that note, let's get into it.
Did you remember to start the recording, Grigori? Are we recording this?
Although now I'm going to double check.
Is this a podcast? Is this a podcast?
Yes, we're recording. We're recording. It's fine.
How do these things work again? We've only done like 30-something of them.
That's right.
Christ.
No, I have no complaints. I have literally no complaints, unironically, about a barking dog in the background. It's ideal.
I'm sorry.
No,
I feel bad.
We've seen Nico's dog. It's a cute dog.
It's fine. Don't
worry. Don't feel bad. Legitimately, don't feel bad.
Yeah, don't literally. It's not even something to worry
now.
about.
Yeah.
What's your dog's name, Nico? Do you want to share your dog's name? You okay sharing your dog's name? Is that?
Yeah, her name's Panda.
That's a lovely name for a dog.
Nice.
She's a nice little dog.
Is your profile picture a picture of Panda?
Yeah, it's art. Aethers did it.
Yeah.
That's
wonderful.
Amazing. Art of your dog. That's awesome.
It is amazing. But speaking of other dogs and wildlife, let's talk about Wilson's Wildlife Solutions.
What a segue.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is
Incredible.
podcast.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay.
It's like we're actually starting to learn how to do this. 30
Yeah.
minutes
Like
in.
the chemistry we got going on here, we're all so good at this. It's amazing.
Let's just call it a day right now.
Yeah, this has already been a banger. Same time
right.
next year, guys?
So, yeah, exactly.
Oh, wait. Okay, we can start now.
That's perfect. I can't
How do
believe
you
you had the
run
balls.
a podcast with this guy?
Oh, I mean, this is the same person who once during, like, before we started recording, I opened a cup of coffee, like I have a container, like a travel mug sort of thing. And he was like, I hope you're not going to make that sound into the microphone. What the heritage?
Did I do that? That does sound like me. I don't
Yes!
remember it, but I believe it. Totally believe it.
Okay.
All right.
Great,
That's what
go.
people come here for.
Great, cut through.
Right,
Read
so
your,
just-
read your prepared speech.
Cliff's Notes. So, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions is an NGO that made an agreement with the Foundation at some, 2008, which is called the Boring Agreement, because the SCP Foundation is having a hard time dealing with all the anomalous animals, and if they can find a partner with that, they will do so. They have a whole statement. Is because of this inherent undeniable limit to our influence that we make this proposition. The Boring Agreement is not just an outline of steps and regulations and contractual legalization that allows Wilson's Wildlife Solutions to interact with anomalies. It is a pact that must be upheld no matter the costs. Boring Agreement is Wilson Wildlife Solutions' pledge to maintain normalcy and to bear all burdens that that duty entails. So they've got this agreement that sets up Tim Wilson, who's the founder of Wilson's Wildlife and his organization, to essentially help. At first it seems like it was more animal control, but then very quickly became like a wildlife preserve. And they get calls about interesting and weird wildlife type things. There's a statement from him on the hub. You have wildlife problems and we solve them. Recently we've gotten new sources of cash, so we're spreading our horizons all across Oregon, which is known, and not by most, as the world's greatest source of exotic fauna.
Yep.
They've been in operation since 92, and then, like I said before, SCP has been supervising. They're sort of a silent partner over them since 2008. So they get funding, and they also get, if the SCP Foundation finds things that would fit their purview, then a lot of times it will be that they kind of send it along to be taken care of by Wilson's. What I like is that
I love the choice of Boring Oregon so that you could call it the Boring Agreement. That was such a good idea. Especially because the Boring Agreement is the center of one of the most popular things that's written on the site.
It's hilarious.
It's boring. Why does everybody upvote it?
So these are ecologists, zoologists, veterinarians, animal control specialists, environmentalists, etc. Basically, they're called to handle any of the weird, unique, anomalous fauna. But seeing as how we've got the two authors who have been probably the most by themselves contributing, why don't you guys give your spiel about it? Nico, we started with DarkStuff, so why don't we, you give your thoughts about like when you were first contributing, what you feel about it, that kind of stuff.
Sure. Let's see. What was my first Wilson's article? I think it was
Crom? Do we have an answer to that? Crom?
I think it actually was Maya.
By oh, that sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah, it was Maya.
Order. Date. Descending. No. Ascending. Descending? Ascending? I don't fucking know. Come on, Crom. Don't fuck this up.
Good to know, everybody.
Articles are 177.
I got 3297. Grandma always remembers. Is this right?
That's my very first SCP article.
That means that the Wilsons.
However, my first Wilson's article was Critical Profile Maya. And what I was thinking when I wrote that one was pretty much it wasn't exactly a collaboration, but it was a unified effort because I was writing a friend and I wanted to write Secret Crow. We wanted to write about a bear who first starts out in Dread and Circuses, in Herman Fuller Circuses Disquieting, and then winds up at Wilson's. She wrote the original one, which is Herman Fuller Presents Maya the Bear, and then I wrote Critter Profile Maya. And this was, I guess, the very first article that showed an abused animal, because like after that, almost all the critter profiles became an abused animal getting good through Wilson's.
It's a common theme.
To be fair, it's a common theme of most wildlife preserves and adoption agencies. That's just real life, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking when I wrote it was I just wanted to write about a bear who played Entry of the Gladiators whenever she opened her mouth, and she rode a unicycle and smoked cigarettes.
What better reason to write anything, honestly?
Exactly.
And it worked out. Yeah. And that was also the birth of Alex Molina, Fairwind's boyfriend.
Wow, terrestrial team.
Yeah. You know, everybody will be really excited to know I typed the information correctly into Chrome, and Critter Profile Maya was your first one. Obviously, you didn't know that. We haven't established that already.
No. Thank you for the new information, Harry. This was worth our time.
So when the computer confirms your memories are real.
Actually, I'll just...
Perfect. Thank you, computer.
How else am I supposed to live my life if things aren't documented on the internet for verification purposes? How do I know that any of it really happened?
Right.
And I think after that it was 3879 Musical Jolly Ape.
Yeah.
Which
that one has a legacy too.
Yeah, that was the first mention of Wilson's in Wonderworld.
Yes.
Ooh, crossover.
Yeah.
A lot of those going on here.
There are.
It was also the first time Wondertainment interacted with Wilson's, and it was also the first time Wilson's interacted with anybody else.
Nice.
Yeah, except Herman Fuller in your previous critter profile, right?
They didn't exactly interact.
Okay, fair enough.
They correspond long distance via bear.
Yeah, which is about the distance you want from all those goddamn clowns.
Yeah.
Yes, the less said about the clowns, the better.
Guess whether or not that'll be an episode.
Oh no.
I can't even see for all the shades you're throwing.
Anyway. Alright, Dark Stuff.
Hello.
You know, give us the Cliff's Notes on the creation of this thing.
Well, now to reveal the rimple in my designs.
Let's just keep doing
So, man, I don't have dates good in my head. Harry, if you would like to loudly search another thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Just put him on blast. Just
really
put him on blast
the keys this
for like
time.
fucking narrating his search the last time.
So,
I'm ready. Dark Stuff.
Well, if you would like to see when SCP-3466 came out, what date it was published, that would be nice.
Okay.
Yes.
Search 3466. Enter. I could have done this in my browser. Oh, it's just hit 300, Dark Stuff.
It did. I am fucking elated.
I go to history, the 10th of February, 2018.
All right. Then in 2018, Rimple was operating his first draft swap, which is a wonderful little event, one of my favorite events on the wiki. It is exactly what it sounds like. People swap unfinished drafts that they don't feel like finishing or don't think they can finish, yada yada, any reason applies. I actually remember that I didn't have a draft to give people, but I was so excited by the idea that I was just like, hey, if you have like an extra draft to just like toss at me, that would be cool.
I thought you were going to say you just like half wrote something just to throw at something. Created a draft with the intention of abandoning it.
No, that would be great, but no, I didn't. But Rimple threw at me the draft that would become SCP-3466, which birthed Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. So credit where credit is due. The name Wilson's Wildlife Solutions and the location of Boring, Oregon are Rimple. That is Rimple's doing.
Nice.
This is a fairly not like entirely uncommon thing, right? With like Djork having so much influence on the SNC plastic stuff, but then Ip writing almost all of it, and also Metaphysician not inventing the names of Alagada and the Hanged King, but then writing like almost all of it.
Yeah, and if I were to Yeah. Yeah, it's wonderful. Fucking love this site. Sometimes. But so he came up with those things. In the original draft, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions was pretty much a name drop for a company that would be called for people getting upset with these crows pecking at them and such. And so they only existed for filling that role in the article, and they were not at all like an anomalous organization that knew of magic things. But the way that Rimple wrote the guy responding to the call made it sound like he was so cavalier and just like he had heard this shit so many times before. I was just like, these guys know weird shit. And so I decided to go hard on them. I decided that actually this article is about crows that run a Burger King, sure, but it's also about the guys that go and handle the crows that run the Burger King, and it's Wilson's Wildlife Solutions.
You got to imagine that in a world with anomalies, the animal control people would 100% be aware.
For real.
I mean, just like weird shit. Like that one we're gonna read later. You got roaches. It's just the perfect. It's just like it's a good art. I'm really glad you suggested it.
I love You Have Roaches. We'll get to that one. You Have Roaches has a special place in my heart. I'll stop talking about it in a second, but it has a special place in my heart now, even later, because now I have pet cockroaches. So I do have roaches, in fact.
Oh dear.
You have roaches. No. I do have roaches.
Could we get them on the microphone? Could we hear them?
Hey, you know what? You say that?
I said it out loud. I don't mean it.
You said that like it's a ridiculous idea, but they are hissing cockroaches.
I know that. Yeah, that's cool. We don't.
Hell yeah, I love hissing cockroaches.
No, wait, I don't want it. I don't actually want it. I don't want it.
Are you gonna hiss again?
I can hiss. Like if you.
I picked it up and it hissed, but by the time I got it to the microphone, it had stopped. And the only way to like make them hiss is to scare them. So I'm not gonna like intentionally scare them.
Yes, you wouldn't want to be cruel to cockroaches.
No, they're awesome. I love
cockroaches.
They're my friends, and I think they're very cute.
Wow,
in any case,
are really on brand today. It's good. They're friends to all the fucking animals, aren't they?
Amazing.
Oh man, where was I? Oh, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. So I wrote that article. I didn't expect anything of it. It was like any other article that I had written. And I just thought it had a fun concept, and I capitalized on that one concept and thought that would be it.
Sure.
And I don't remember exactly what the discourse was that made it like become a thing, but if I were to guess, because it's been a while, it's been like 5 years, a lot of stuff has changed in my life. I bet you that people really liked it. I mean, I know people really liked it, but I bet you that came up in conversation in some of the side chats on IRC, because there used to be some pretty tight-knit, I mean, I bet there are still, but I'm not a part of them. There used to be some pretty tight-knit side chats of like some very specific subgroups, and there was one specifically, I don't know if it's still going. I feel like I dropped in some years ago and it was much quieter than it used to be, but like Taylortopia, I was part of, and that was like one of my biggest side chats that I was part of. And I think like most of the first contributors to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions came from Taylortopia.
Nice.
People in there were like having a good time, were like, this is really fun, and then wrote some stuff for it. And by the time that I had like two other people, I think it was Werillium and Deviant Dharma, wrote the next two articles. SCP-3153 was Dharma's, that's the centipede friends. And then Werillium, I forget the name of it, but it was like Wilson's Wildlife Solutions going and finding an extinct bird, and it like crossing a state border, and so there's like iffy custody of the anomaly. Those two, I think, came out really fast. And then I wrote my second article, which we'll be talking about later, 3465, and Tanhoney wrote, I forget what it's called, but it's it's wasps. It's something to do with
in your microwave, and they're stinging you right now.
Yes, it's the wasp microwave. And I will say out loud, and that was the 5 articles between 3 authors needed for a tag. And after it became a tag, it kind of just, the ball never stopped rolling.
Right.
Which I was incredibly surprised by and remain incredibly surprised by. I do think that ball would have eventually stopped rolling had it not been for critter profiles.
Yes.
GOI formats, I'm not going to say saved Wilson's Wildlife, because by the time that they were coming out, it wasn't like Wilson's Wildlife was about to die, but like they really cemented Wilson's place on the wiki.
No, something that I've noticed by doing this and examining all these different GOIs is that there are a lot of GOIs that really, the best examples of talking about them are SCPs, and there are a lot of them where that isn't the case, and this is definitely one of them. And congratulations. I mean, if you didn't make the profile template, if somebody else did it, either way, the point is that it's one of the few that doesn't look like trash.
Yeah, it still looks good.
It's very pleasant, like it's just immediate.
The colors,
it's just
the layout, it's just and the descriptions, the tone, it's all good.
Yeah,
and that's
it's
like
just
almost
it just
unheard of.
immediately draws you in. The profiles are, or the adoption posters, same deal. Like where it's just like this just makes sense. Like in-universe document that isn't, a real chore to get through. It just immediately pulls you in. It's great.
Would you like me to give a little bit of history on that? I picked an article later for us to talk about, which is the first critter profile, and thought that I would do a lot of the history there.
Yeah, we'll wait till we get there.
Okay.
Playing fast and loose.
Yeah.
Then in the meantime, I would like to say something that probably won't be said at another point, which is there are wasps, and they are in your microwave, and they're stinging you right now. Great article. Tanhoney is a great author. I want to say only its praises, but I have a secret burning feud with that article. And this is why. This is what it is.
They're not actually stinging you and you're mad because it's a lie.
Just totally killed my aversion.
Yeah. No, it's one of the earliest Wilson's Wildlife articles, right?
Yeah.
And SCP-3466, the original, is at plus 300. It just broke plus 300. The WASP article is at plus 304. And I have this long-standing belief that people know of 3466 and don't really actually know of the WASP article. Like, it's a great article, but it's not like a legacy Wilson's article except for being early.
Right.
And that it has more upvotes than 3466. I very selfishly am always like, I will pass you one day. And it is. The gap is narrowing. It is narrowing.
Let me look that up loudly and see on Zipper.com.
This is like an incredibly relatable thing. Like, I am so happy for like all three of you, like, and all your successes. But like, it's not like a little part of you doesn't every time you see something blowing something that you did away, just go like, I'm glad that's doing well. But like, why not? There's room for me too.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of my way. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on. Like it just makes sense that 3466 should be the highest rated Wilson's SCP.
That's 3465, right?
No, 3465 is
You have 2 in a row?
Yeah, I have both of them. I did that for a while when I was writing SCPs more often, and I just didn't have a lot of attachment to numbers. Although 466 was in reference to how many American condors were left in the United States.
That's clever.
That was the idea of that. And that's also why Wilson's Wildlife Solutions is GOI 466.
I almost never care about numbers, and it was only recently when I did the anthology one, which was about an evil version of Pinocchio, that I demanded it be 7840 because it came out in 1940.
Nice.
It almost caused problems because I wasn't supposed to be in that specific slide. Anyway.
But
according to Zipper.com, you're the people who write for the site like your article better. So there you go.
That's exactly what I suspected.
Tanhoney's off-site clout just clouting you there.
Yeah, Tanhoney fucking out-clouded me. And I have been sour about it since 2018.
Maybe you should win a KCON, Dark Stuff.
Yeah,
no.
Maybe, yeah. Harry, does that affect your other stuff as well?
Did winning the con affect my my standing with my stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, slightly. Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit.
A little bit.
Trying a little bit. Yeah. Anyway, he's got more downvotes than you do. If that helps.
He doesn't need more downvotes. I just need more upvotes. He can have his success. I just need my success to be bigger.
That is the most like emblematic thing of anything creative anyone has said on this show. Like, I want your success to be like astronomical. I just want mine to be like just a little bit more.
I want you guys to do so well that you're almost doing as well as I am.
That's right.
I just want my friends to do well, dog.
Mm-hmm.
You're just a nice person, Nico.
Yeah.
Aw.
And we don't know how we got you, how we acquired such a nice person, and how you've survived us all this time.
Oh no! That's GOI format stuff. I'm saving it. I'm saving it for later.
All right.
That's my spiel. That's my summary.
Let's get into the actual articles then.
Yeah, because otherwise we're just gonna do this all night.
I know.
We're just
good chemistry. Good chemistry.
We're gonna like explode as a bomb if the chemistry gets any more.
No, it's good chemistry. Out the other end comes drugs and sugar.
It is. We should like fire up a video game and start streaming to Twitch and get some good numbers.
Yeah, let's rimple along.
Look at you! All of this time, you've been finally dragged down right into the mud.
Oh yeah. Anyway,
secret
all right.
rimple.
So the first article that we'll talk about, Nico, you picked this one, and DarkStuff, you wrote
popped
this
his
one.
rimple.
God. Oh, wait. Oh, I thought that was a cherry joke for a second, but I realized now it's a pimple joke. Anyway.
Yeah, you made it worse. Thanks.
Yeah. Faye goes to the shelter, which is about the character Fayeowen Wilson that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So this is a tale in a pretty lengthy series called Take It Away, My Darling, which is, if I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's not like I read all of them, but I did skim a few of them. It's sort of kind of centered around like Tim Wilson and running Wilson's wildlife, but then also the story about how Fayeowen kind of takes the lead after something bad happens to Tim, right?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
And something bad happening to Tim is not really a spoiler. It's very established Wilson's lore. Tim does die of a heart attack at one point, and Fayeowen takes over.
That. I just haven't published it.
Yeah,
I'm sure that'll be a real wholesome. I've seen that, haven't I? Not sad at all.
Yeah, you have.
That's the one I crit. Yeah.
Yep.
So Nico.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
I was taking charge. I was saying, since this is picked by Nico, tell us a little bit about the article.
Yeah.
So
also because I wrote it and I'm curious how you sell it.
Nico, talk about it. Nico.
So the reason why I picked this article is because
DarkStuff threatened me.
It's because it's Fayeowen's introduction to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. It's the first time she goes to visit Tim in Boring. It's the first time she gets to see the anomalous world that exists behind the veil. And it's the first time that she gets to sort of deal with the Foundation in a roundabout way.
Mm.
So I thought it was important because it gives you that look into how someone who Wilson's at its core, for me at least, is about ordinary people in extraordinary situations.
Sure.
Yes.
So this is before this, Fayeowen was an ordinary person, and she was brought into this extraordinary world by her dad, and that's why I wanted to share this story.
The aspect that I really liked about it was this understanding that comes out through the storytelling, that Tim has tried to explain this to her before, and she thought he was either just full of shit or delusional. And I really like that. There's no speech. He just kind of says, "Yeah, let's just go look at some stuff. Let's just rip this Band-Aid off." Yeah. Let's go talk to a bird that makes carvings out of stuff.
I really enjoyed writing the imagery of that scene. I haven't actually reread the tale recently to know if it holds up, but I remember really liking the image of that scene.
shocker and spoiler, DarkStuff is good at prose.
Thank you.
This is an author who has written an extraordinarily high number of tales, and they're all brilliant. In fact, both of our authors can claim the same. But
Thank you.
I have a. I'll plug. I'm plugging. Watch. I'm plugging.
Yes,
I have a 30,000 word currently draft in the works.
It's good. It's just long.
It is long.
I read
I
it.
was supposed to look at that at some point and forgot.
Pulling a Harry Blank.
It's not done. When it is done, I'll be shopping it around. I don't want to spend any more time on it because it's not actually related to Wilson's Wildlife. I just am plugging that I have been away from the site for actually quite a long time, and that's its own story. And I am very excited to return with a big slap to the face of many thousands of words. But yeah, Take It Away, My Darling was a wonderful project that is unfinished, that this article is a part of, that was started with Nico.
Hi.
It was interesting. I didn't used to be the largest Wilson's Wildlife Solutions writer by volume. There was a period of time when Nico held that title, if I remember correctly, and that's because after I wrote the first 2 SCPs, I dipped for a bit and was, in awe that Wilson's Wildlife was still going. This was part of the, as I was talking about earlier, the kind of depressant that happened after making it big and being like, oh shit, what do I even do? But I returned to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions after a lot of discussion with Nico, because as you know, it makes a lot of natural sense that the person who is the biggest writer for the GOI that you just birthed, you probably start talking to them a lot. So we started talking, and being a tale writer, I don't remember exactly how the ball started rolling, but we started getting into DMs and brainstorming a Wilson's Wildlife Solutions tale series, as I had by that point written 2 tale series already and was excited to try to write one again. Take It Away, My Darling is the product of that brainstorm. It is largely co-authored with Nicolini. It's where a lot of the characters of Wilson's Wildlife Solutions have been established. Like, all the strongest characterization for all of the characters is within this tale, with a little bit of exception. I'm going to give Nico a shout out. Nico has written a lot of Faywin Wilson stuff on their own, and those articles are also very establishing for Faywin on the site, and have just as much of the public's perception of Faywin's character is mine as it is Nico's. Nico's Fey articles are beloved. We're going to talk about one later, I think. And the family of Wilson, so Anders Wilson, Robin Wilson, Alice Osdemer, Audrey Fuchs, who is Faywin's mom, the relationship between Tim Wilson and Faywin, that's all explored in Take It Away, My Darling. And I am very, very pleased with the product that came out, and a bit unhappy that it has stalled. If we got into a discussion on why that is, that could be its whole own podcast. I hope to return to it at some point. I don't know if I will. If I don't, I do have another article I'm writing right now, which is much more relevant to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. I have an essay, quote unquote. It's very free form, but it's not fiction, so I'm calling it an essay. That's sitting at 42,000 words, which I have been writing for the last year, and has a section on Take It Away, My Darling. So all will be revealed.
I mean,
sounds like you're really trying to beat the word count Olympics.
I don't really think, listen, this is volunteer creative writing. It's all amateur stuff. We're not getting paid. Like, a lot of us have series. Oh, well, specifically SCP.
We can't be as cool as you, Harry.
The rest of you aren't getting paid. I'm getting paid.
But a lot of us have unfinished things. We all have unfinished things. And
God, yes.
There's not to say that, you won't eventually finish it or will, Like, I mean, I have a series I've been writing literally since my first article, and I'm still writing it. So,
Same.
So, I've done a lot of other stuff, but yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, before we move on to the next one, Nico, I think that you are really good at what DarkStuff was describing, where you get together and brainstorm stuff and encourage other people to get behind the keyboard. I had been suffering with such a horrible writer's block for months. I was complaining to Harry about it all the time. I wasn't even blocked. I just was I couldn't focus in on writing at all. And Nico came in with something that you wanted to turn into a Vanguard story, and then totally helped break that block. And I've gotten 2 more articles since, and I'm really grateful.
I have the most collabs on the site, so I think I know how to get people inspired.
That's a great fucking skill, man.
You're an absolute fucking
best.
An absolute pillar of the community. In fact, while we're on Uncle Nicolini's celebration hour, have you crommed yourself lately, Nico? Have you checked your author stats recently?
No.
You
just
became the 10th most upvoted.
Oh!
Yay!
You're the number 10 out of about 2,300 people now.
2,300?
I would say I'm jealous.
Top 10.
Envious,
baby.
even.
Check it out. And
I
most of
stay
the
up
people
at
who are
night.
above you are dead, so you're gonna keep going.
They're not dead.
Yeah, they died. It was very sad.
I mean, let's be honest here. As
Some
soon
of
as
them.
you hit the top 100, you start climbing corpses.
Yeah,
It's true.
It
has been
stretches. That's what I call it. There's a huge stretch of corpses, just a graveyard of people you've never even heard of.
I've been really grateful that I feel like the podcast has gotten my stuff much more attention, because for the last year my stuff has been climbing in ways that it wasn't doing before, other than the occasional 6,500 or something like that. And same thing where I'll just check and I'll be like, oh well, wait, who did I pass? And then be like, oh, that I don't even know who that is.
I think recently, I haven't written with concerted effort on the wiki since COVID, and I remember looking, and I've risen 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah, once you
And
get
it's
enough
what
good
the
stuff,
fuck is even?
Well, you've got a good body of work. You've got, a lot of it has to do with Wilson's and how popular that still is. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
it is
moving
weird
up.
how you'll just stop. I mean, I didn't write anything for 5 months, and my stuff just continued to gather points, which is crazy and great.
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. That's awesome. But
a really old article of mine, SCP-1549, I think is the number. Just it isn't any part of any big canon. It's not part of a series. It's not it didn't establish a character or a GOI or anything. And I was just informed by my co-author Billith recently, hey, it hit 200, and I was like, what? Fuck! I looked at it, it was at plus 130, years ago. It was just accumulating that whole time.
It's a fluid situation. You mentioned Werilium not long ago. I just uploaded one of the articles we read for today because I forgot to upload it, which means you are now tied with Werilium and about to pass him to move up.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even remember that I was.
You have exactly the same rank now. You're 10,585 upvotes.
Wow. Damn. I did not know that I was below Werilium or that I was directly below Werilium. Dang.
To pass him anyway.
Wow. I mean, or else we each are climbing equally. I don't know. But yeah, I guess so. No.
Internet points.
Okay, fair enough.
Internet points. Yep. The ongoing genital measurement contest of the SCP Wiki.
It's so funny how you finally get to the point where it doesn't matter, but it still fucking matters.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It still matters.
But not it did before. I don't feel unappreciated the way I used to be. Yeah.
I can't say I've ever really cared.
Well, that must how you got up to 10. Good job.
I just wanted to write, and then I wrote.
I feel like this may be looking at the past with rose-tinted glasses, but I feel like I didn't care until I stopped writing. Because all the time that I was writing, it was just oh yeah, things are happening, people are commenting, engagement is nice, and then I stopped writing, and the only measurement I had for community presence and success was the numbers. And then I started being like, oh, I'm stagnating. Oh, nothing is happening. Oh.
I will say that I can't think of anything I've ever written that I thought I was doing for, like, specifically to, like, get, more eyes.
No.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
most of the shit I've written and Harry's written have been, like, actively trying not to, it seems.
Oh, yeah.
And somehow it's worked anyway.
It should be upvote poison half the time. Here, I'm just going to write 10,000 words and clear it on here. Fuck you. And then it...
I mean,
just
like,
look
I
at
was
somehow.
sharing parts of 7007 with you going, they're going to be so mad. They're going to hate it. Everyone's going to hate me. And then it got 10th
And Calibold
place.
scoops you on that one.
Well, yeah.
He just came in with just an irresistible hate sink, and then...
But one of the funniest fucking titles I've ever seen for an SCP.
Is that the League of Legends one?
Yeah, that Your Honor,
Oh,
League
man.
of Legends. So funny. So funny.
That's a wonderful title.
It's amazing. Anyway.
Cal's sudden evolution to troll status was amazing to watch.
I know.
'Cause I don't know when it started, but
He's
he
such a
became
sweet
so
boy.
Good at it. He's so good-naturedly good at trolling everyone.
Yeah, it's never edgy. It's like that.
No, it's
that
weird.
one about the cat was like, I'm angry at you. All right.
I would like to make a suggestion.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'd like to make a Yes. But I would like to make a suggestion as to the order of the articles that we have to talk about. Because I think that we could go in more or less a chronological order, and that would give some more context. Like, I would like to talk about a little more, I won't go too deep because we already did, on 3466, and then I want to talk about the first critter profile, because that will give us some insight into critter profiles in general. That'll be part of my spiel.
Just
then we can
remind us
go
where
to
we're going, and then...
All right. So
Sure.
then
we'll
talk about...
go back to the other critter, the adoption poster.
We're
that
doing this
Nico
specifically
chose.
to upset Grigori, who needs the outline to feel special.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why it's not
Yeah.
not my fucking controlled like type A personality at all.
Right.
I
that's
came
fine.
in here
Okay.
to disrupt Grigori's power and
But
That's
overtake
Harry's
it.
job.
What do you think I'm here for?
Well, you're next on my list, but Grigori is the weaker link. So I'm just going. I'm stepping step by
Easier
step.
to upset.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
you keep pronouncing it Grigori, and you're gonna get me on my bad side.
Grigori.
That's right.
Okay, excuse me.
Grigori.
Yeah.
Dark
Okay. So
Tough.
30, that's right. Dark's tough.
Dark's tough.
All right, so 34. So
Right.
we'll
Yeah.
change it up. So all right, so SCP-3466. Only bird
Yes.
brains live the American dream. Which good
Mm.
fucking title.
Great. Time.
Thank you.
So you've already kind of given an upshot, but just as a reminder, this is like a pretty higher than average intelligent group of murder of crows living near boring that have and I quote, heightened sense of currency and business bordering on
Yes.
sapience, which is such a funny line.
That is an
Thank you.
amazing line. That is
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorites.
Wilson's gets a call about an aggressive group of crows, which we've already talked about. The whole point was about Wilson's people going out and dealing with it.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, they have somehow opened a Burger King. So all right,
Yes.
take it away.
So what I would like to return to this article for specifically is to continue the discussion about how Wilson's Wildlife got its voice on the wiki that then continued over into the critter profiles. Because as you were saying, the critter profiles have a very specific voice, and they have pleasant colors. And I want to take some credit for that, but also give credit to
Just
say what I haven't done.
Sorry to interrupt.
Um,
I thought that you were about to be like, I just want to get back into the fact that this should be doing better than 1000.
No. Yeah, fuck the WASP article, but moving on.
Canody's not listening, but in case you were, we're just kidding. We love you.
Absolutely.
Of course. Well, they might love you. No, we love you. Thank you, Tanhoney, for helping me start a GOI. But the part of the... so I did not create the first GOI format, and I did not create the format for it either. That all came from a guy named Recursive Recursion.
Wait, is that all we're going to talk about 3466? Or are you already
No,
moving on?
these are intertwined. These are intertwined.
Okay, all right, okay.
So that's why I want to talk about them right now. Yes. Let me weave.
I just beat the shit out of my microphone. Did that make it?
You're creating rimples.
I didn't hear it. You're fine.
Okay,
the waveform has so many rimples.
Oh gosh!
Oh my god, you're killing me. So in 3466, I did pick the Wilson's Wildlife Solutions colors. There's a section of the SCP that's like an internal report by Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. Right, sure. And at that point, it's really fucking simple, by the way. I have no clue what I'm doing with CSS. It is by luck that apparently what I was doing was like good enough to pass the sniff test, and now all critter profiles are written in a similar format.
Love it.
But all I did was just like, I guess this color would be nice here.
You nailed it.
This color would be nice here.
Yeah, it's really nice.
They are so uncomplicated.
Good.
Which probably lends to how easy they are to write, but yet again, that's recursive recursion. But I did pick the minty colors. I also really wanted to so Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, let's say an elephant in the room, by the way. Wilson's Wildlife Solutions is basically like a smaller, very nice foundation. Yeah. That's why they can work with the foundation, is because they are a smaller microcosm of all the things the foundation does, except with a pure heart. and like not a world-weary view. And so I wanted to be like, okay, how do I differentiate them as much as possible in their own internal documentation? And I was like, well, I'm going to make it very informal. Like, they get all the information across that they need to, but instead of it being cold and clinical, it's like very warm and personable. Right. Where like even in the documentation, people refer to like, I went and did this, or I think we should do this. And one of my favorite little bits of that is at the very end of that little document, which was Feather Finucci and Justin Chickadee going and talking to the crows, basically ordering some burgers from Crow Burger King.
And I'm not gonna have another chance. I just love the note that the crow was wearing a little Burger King hat. Like a big fan of that imagery.
Thank you. And I just the end of that document is just a little note at the bottom that is kind of implied to be in like all their documentation, like part of the format is just good job, guys. And I thought that was really like tone setting. And so Recursive took that tone and put it into a GOI format. Which is Caddy.
Critter Profile Caddy, yeah.
Critter Profile Caddy. So Recursive did a lot of establishing work on this GOI format. I mean, first of all, he made the entire format. I mean, like the beat by beat, section by section format we use today was just Recursive doing his thing. And I think I was the Wilson's Wildlife Solutions guy, so he checked in with me a couple times. But that was pretty much it. And I pretty much was like, yeah, cool. Do it. And then he did. And he also made it very warm and personable, used all the same colors, and just really established the feel in its own format. Words are failing me. He really set up there's kind of some tropes of critter profiles, and Recursive clearly started the one that's like so many critter profiles are stories of the animal like specifically opening up to a specific caretaker, right. And so it's kind of a character explanation of this developing worldly, naturey friendship connection between man and animal, and the Recursive set that up, and that's pretty much like half of critter profiles, if not more. Like even the critter profiles that are about something else, that's pretty much the B plot is. Sure. And then so-and-so came up, and the guy who was growling at everybody, now he really likes this guy. This guy's great. Maya the bear does that. Alex Molina is like the bear whisperer.
He just wasn't a clown.
He just wasn't a clown. Yeah, pretty much. But that's, sometimes that's what it takes. And Caddy is great. It also set up, like, Recursive boldly did not go for a cute monster design in Caddy. We start the critter profiles by showing, like, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions really does love everything. And they don't have to be, like, cute, cuddly, fluffy little animals. They can be giant, sticky river monsters.
Yeah, so this is I love this. They're a massive school of Pacific herring functioning as one big old colossal colonial organism, which is a direct quote, big old colonial. When she feels threatened, she clusters all of her fish together to form a giant sea monster. We're not entirely sure, but members of the school all secrete some kind of sticky substance that keeps them all packed together. And they can be like up to 9 to 15 meters long, which is and like coming to the point where like they even say that this is the origin to like sea monster stories in the Pacific Northwest, which is such good stuff.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a perfect marriage between like weird kind of Gravity Falls-esque. You know what? Actually, Gravity Falls bears mentioning, by the way. Gravity Falls was inspired by Boring, Oregon, specifically, and Rimple says that choosing the site of Boring, Oregon for a funny story about birds was not a coincidence. So there is some Gravity Falls in the origin story. That's another Rimple in the story.
To be honest, it seems to come up a lot with a lot of the more
recursion going on there.
Yeah. Shut up. Shut up.
I'm just sitting here waiting for my moment to strike.
Don't make them worse.
Synergy.
Synergy of fail and stupid. Oh gosh, you really threw me off.
Come on, don't rimple
my job,
over there.
baby.
Where was I?
You were talking about Gravity Falls.
I did say Gravity Falls and Boring, Oregon, but why did I even say Gravity Falls?
Because it was like
the vibe.
To it.
The vibe.
Which is common. Like, I mean, I know that had a strong influence on IP's stuff with SNC Plastics and other things, because it was a very formative series. I mean, I was an old man, so I didn't watch it, but like, having seen some of it since, because so many people in the community have talked about it, I can totally see how it was connection to it.
Yeah. It's just like that very nice, like, weird shit happens, but having a good relationship with weird shit that you don't fully understand, and like loving life and loving it instead of being afraid of it, which seems to be the SCP Foundation's go-to.
I would say
scared of everything.
That and Erie, Indiana had like huge influences on SCP stuff, but that's the opposite kind of tone.
And I think that I have said all I want to say about this critter profile. If anyone has more, speak now or forever hold your peace.
I mean, I'm just impressed that this was sort of done off the cuff, that this was not only the first one, but so clearly sets the tone in so many different ways. Like, the only thing it's kind of missing, but it kind of still has it, is, you know, the testimonials that can start showing up later on.
Oh, that's exclusive to the adoption posters.
Are they?
Right.
Yeah.
They're adopters who have been involved.
Okay, that's fair. But like, I feel like a lot of the notes and special needs and accommodations come from like different perspectives and some of the
there's no emails and stuff. There's a lot of emails in a lot of these. Yeah. Where that started, I don't know.
Hey there, fans of Simply Creative People. We're mostly unsponsored so far, so I figured I would take the time to mention that you can support the show on the show page at anchor.fm/simplycreativepeople. Or, if you're so inclined, you can check out Harry or my Ko-Fi pages at ko-fi.com/HarryBlank or /Grigori Karpin author. Things are crazy tough out there, so if you can't afford any financial support, and trust me, we understand, do us a favor and mention the podcast to someone who might enjoy it, or spread the word online. If we want to bridge the gap between fans and creators, we've got to get the word out to new fans. In many ways, this show is designed to be appealing to new and old fans of SCP alike, as we can all enjoy some discussion about this thing we love, and we can all learn something new. Heaven knows I learn something new every week. Thanks so much, and we love you just for listening. Thanks for the support through all these first few months of the podcast. You're the best.
So yeah, I would now like to give a little tiny Wilson's history lesson that will lead into the adoption poster picked by Nico, which is critter profiles took off. Critter profiles do really well. As has been said earlier in this podcast, they are one of the only formats that can compete with SCP formats for votes. When new critter profiles come out, people tend to read them, which is crazy.
And they tend to be short, and they tend to be wholesome, and
yep.
There's always a nice twist to it, so it makes sense.
Sometimes they're not. Sometimes people love playing with the established Wilson's Wildlife tone and being like, haha, gruesome and evil, actually. Yeah. Which is also fine. I mean, do what you want. But they took off, and I had yet to write a GOI format for Wilson's, and I was still in my post-creating Wilson's depression and writer's block. So I was like, man, I would really like to, affect change by writing it, but I can't make myself write things right now. So I'm going to see if I can just exert a little bit of influence just by asking stuff. No harm, no foul, I guess. Or no point in not trying is the phrase I meant to use. And so in the discussion page on the Wilson's Wildlife Solutions Hub, I just said to the community, hey, I think it would be cool if we did more different formats for Wilson's Wildlife Solutions. Critter profiles are cool and all, but they're basically SCPs. They're SCPs but wholesome. And I was like, I feel like we could come up with something. And then I gave some ideas, none of which were what people ended up doing, which is the next most popular Wilson's format, which also is a wild thing to be able to say, are adoption posters. Now take it away.
Yeah, it's a good segue. So we also have on the list adoption poster Old Shock by Stormbreath, and Nico, you picked this one out. So if you want to maybe kind of say why this one sings for you.
Yeah, for real. The reason why I picked that one is because it was the first one, and it not only establishes a different tone that a lot of the adoption posters take. Like Grigori pointed out earlier, it tells you the testimonials, there's the emails, and yeah, I picked it because it was the first one, and I didn't want to pick one of my own. I've written a few of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so to make up for that, I picked one of yours. I was like, there's a lot of dark stuff on this list, so we need a little more Nico on this list. So
this one's interesting because it's one of the ones that's reinterpretation of an SCP. Because it's, there's
Which one? Old Shock?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because he's a black shuck, and that is actually an SCP.
Oh, interesting.
It's also a mythological or folklore thing, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yes, it is.
I feel like that's got to be pretty common with Wilson's, right? I mean,
I don't know why they
it
intended to connect
several
to
times.
the SCP. It's a fairly highly voted old Series 1 but the SCP kind of sucks, and this is a good article. So, I mean, of course, it's a good article
stuff by Stormbreath. Yeah,
Stormbreath is never bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stormbreath is very solid
and very broad. Goes through all kinds of different genres and different formats and stuff. Stormbreath doesn't just isolate to one thing.
Stormbreath is really good.
Yeah.
So this is about a wolfhound or a wolf that is, got some pretty straightforward anomalous behavior, like it has glow in the dark eyes, and it's super stealthy because it's like a black wolf, and it sneaks up on people, and it's a lot stronger. And I mean, but this one, especially because it's the first one, the first couple sections are really quick, they're very punchy, and then the most of the meat is in these testimonials where you get to start to see maybe what some of the what's the anomalous aspect is before that, and yet you don't really get the context or the flavor of those things until you read the testimonials. And it works like a really great thing because it's like the best SCPs, it's epistolary, and
my favorite thing about it is the B plot, because this is part of a series that Stormbreath was doing at the time called Blackest Night, and it's about the Chicago Spectre, the Chicago Spirit, I think.
Yep.
And it turns out that this old Shock, was Mr. Knight's own Shock.
Right.
Excuse me.
There's a really good connection between the GOIs. It's clever, and it provides a good twist to the narrative. This one's got a lot of story. There's a character for this dog, which is not an easy thing to do. Unless the character is, it's a cute dog, you know?
Right. For example, the dog at some point rips off the arm of somebody trying to burglarize a home. But it's still cute, I guess.
The kids don't find it cute anymore, but the parents are like, I like this dog.
Yeah, we can't really keep this dog anymore because this happened. But great dog.
We do appreciate it.
This also establishes something very fun. It just like Stormbreath to write this story. To my memory, because adoption posters do this, but I actually haven't read this recently, so do correct me if I'm wrong. But adoption posters generally are marketed towards the 3 Portlands crowd. So adoption posters as a GOI format, and this is a wild way to establish this piece of lore. I love it. Just by nature of their format, establish that Wilson's Wildlife has a presence in 3 Portlands, and like a rather solid one. Like,
I mean, it makes perfect sense given the layout. I mean, obviously there's no canon, so it could have easily not been, but having 3 Portlands be what it is, as we talked about in the UIU episode, and this also being centered around Oregon, it would be crazy not to, at least touch base on those things.
Yeah.
And, now that we've gone through the 2 formats that are most known in Wilson's, there's also a third one.
I actually had just pulled it up. Glad that you're talking about it.
There's also a third one that was created by the Spanish branch. They're called Danger, and pretty much what they do is they tell you about a dangerous critter that's on the loose, and most of these take place in South America because that's where most of the people from the Spanish wiki are from. So they write what they know. So I wrote one. I translated the most popular one, which is on the English wiki. It's called Danger Incinerator.
Yep.
And the one I wrote is called Danger Medellin Hippos, which is about hippos in the Medellin River in Colombia, which are the hippos.
Cocaine.
Yeah, well, they're Pablo Escobar's hippos. So.
Just the phrases you can say on the SCP hippos.
Yeah. And that's another, Wilson's Wildlife was made not intending to be like a big GOI, so I established it as very landlocked. Like Wilson's Wildlife has a very specific place, and the Boring Agreement only outlines it. It's called the Boring Agreement, so it's about them operating in one town, basically. And then I love that it got popular enough and resonated enough that some people who don't live in the United States were like, I really want to write for this, and just decided, you know what? To accommodate, because I don't want to write in Oregon, because I don't know Oregon, to accommodate, I'm just going to make it so that Wilson's Wildlife is fucking massive.
Well, I mean, it's funny. I mean, that's the way these things work. But also, you kind of almost set that out. We're going to talk about 3465, and that one is about Wilson's pushing against this idea that, or at least the B plot is about Tim Wilson being like, well, listen, what if they're in Washington too,
Yeah.
And I mean,
this is true, but South America is a bit of a
of course. But I just love that you can so effectively set these stories in specific settings, and then it's out there for people to go, hey, let's go nuts.
Yeah, that it's sometimes really easy to lose track of the international branches for SCP. Because, of course, the main SCP website is the English website that doesn't it's not SCP-EN. So it's, as a not bilingual person who pretty much can't go read directly from other wikis, and then admitting my own fault as someone who just hasn't really gone and explored the international wiki. It is wild to me to have something circle back around. Like, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions made it out to Spain. Someone wrote it, and then it got popular enough to get back to the main site and have me hear about it. And now it's like established Wilson's lore. And it's like, shit, that is crazy.
Also, fun fact, there's a fourth format also born on the Spanish wiki. It's called Rescue Mission.
Oh!
It's also translated on Int if you want to read it.
I haven't seen any rescue missions. That's cool.
Absolutely.
It's on the hub. At least the one by DC Urko is on the hub.
Yep.
That's
the
That's amazing.
The
I love
Spooky
that.
Well.
I love that this was the only GOI that's so popular. They just can't even just have one GOI format. And they're all popular.
Yeah.
Right.
Danger Incinerator is at over plus 100. Ol Shock is almost at plus 200.
Yeah.
Yeah. It truly just works. And then there are some Wilson's Wildlife tales that have reached over plus 100. I think one of them, although it's kind of cheating because it's part of the End of Death canon, which just kind of blew up when it was written. But Othello the Cat wrote an article that's a Wilson's Wildlife article that I think
controlled.
I think is at over plus 200.
Othello's underrated, I would say.
Yep.
Othello's very good.
Very good.
I also
love
just
Leslie.
like them, like as a person.
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking.
They're
to them.
awesome.
But I will say, I'm almost every time I've looked at one of their articles, it's been like, why is this not rated higher? And I know why, because people don't read tales. Anyway, but anyway.
Except that one.
Yeah, sure.
People read the fuck out of that one.
Being part of a good popular canon, I mean, I've been surprised at how well the no return stuff has done. It's just it works. But anyway. All right, let's keep going. Another one that was picked by Nico, which is DarkStuff, your other early SCP, which is 3465, Better Safe Than Sorry. And I've already kind of talked a little bit about it. Basically it's about some anomalous turtles that make they're infertile, but the more important thing is that anywhere within a certain distance of these turtles, animals effectively have increased melatonin, dopamine, leptin, effectively rendering them tired, happy, and full feeling. Which, if you can imagine, Marshall Carter and Dark might have a use for. Not to spoil things, but this is all kind of this. What I really like about it is it's a nice, subtle story telling, kind of how a friendly, a well-meaning NGO in this anomalous world is pushing for change and getting results without the typical SCP wiki levels of tension and violence. Like, this is just Tim Wilson being like, hey, so I don't know if you guys knew, but this sounds kind of weird, and unearthing like a conspiracy just through well-meaning intentions, which is pretty great. But Nico, you picked this one, so why don't we talk about it? Well, why'd you pick this one, other than it being an early one? And it's good.
Well, I picked it because it's the first appearance of Tim Wilson as a character.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
That's true.
And
I had forgotten that.
It establishes him as a well-to-do kind of person who maybe isn't slightly over his head.
Yeah. That's the thing I really like about it, is he's a guy who like constantly stammers and doesn't really know what he's doing, but also kind of does. I love that like kind of bumbling aspect to him, which is it's very relatable.
Bumbling is definitely part of what I was trying to communicate with Tim Wilson.
Not to imply that he's a dumb person at all.
Well, he has expertise. He's getting outside of it at the same time.
And it's not even social awkwardness. Though that does come through sometimes. It's more just the sense of like, oh my god, what is happening? How have we gotten this much? He had this idea in 92, and somewhere 15, 16 years later, it's become this gargantuan thing. It's great.
Speaking of 3465 DarkStuff, the picture that you have for it is no longer on Flickr. So we're going to have to find a new one.
But why is it still visible on
because
the
you
site?
uploaded it.
Because I uploaded it.
I think there might be another CC compliant picture of a turtle like this. Possibly.
I think there might be.
We might be able to
possible.
figure out where this one might be cached somewhere else. Oh, licensing emergency. Nico going for
Not cutting it out. Not cutting it out.
Why did you say it on a podcast? Could have flown under the radar forever.
You know,
I mean, Napic would have found it out eventually.
We have until the episode airs, otherwise you'll be banned from the SCP now.
Yeah.
I literally cut something out of an episode recently that called attention to the fact that it was not CC compliant, and then we were like, well, I don't want to put that in the episode. So I went back and edited it out. I won't even say which episode it was.
That's wonderful.
We can cut it out of this one. We can just say I made up some gobbledygook.
I don't want to cut anything out. You got to repel it. Sorry.
Everybody's in 3, 2, 1. Everybody be just like real upset with Nico, and then we'll just be like, come on, we're gonna cut that out, and then we'll be back on track.
Yeah, I'm definitely not cutting anything out. Anyway,
women.
Yeah, that was really uncool. Anyways, but I still love you, so. Moving on. Mm-hmm.
Such a positive podcast. Holy shit. Somebody needs to start a fight about something.
Oh no, that's the person that will definitely first get us to like stop recording. I have no problem being like, oh, this person's being a dick. We're not going to do it anymore. Goodbye. And then it just not come out. This is not that kind of podcast. All right, but let's get back to talking about this article. So there's some resistance from the Foundation because one of the researchers is saying that, like, you know, these turtles aren't just in Oregon, like, but kind of pushing against the language of the boring agreement. And, you know, it comes out that basically the boring language, that's right, which, as somebody who is very familiar with legal language, it is very boring. And, you know, this is basically, you know, I love that this is the first time Tim Wilson shows up because this is basically Tim pushing back on, you know, the concept of the limitations on the boring agreement, and which leads to this realization that the uptight researcher and some of the MTF personnel have been like selling shit to MCD, you know, because these turtles would make a really nice replacement for drugs. Let's face it.
What a sentence.
And also, this is where we have Captain Esau.
Yeah.
Because before her, it was this guy, the MTF leader.
John Shutt. When I discovered that Shutt was a real last name, I was like, that is the perfect I hate you name.
Yeah.
You, John.
Sorry to whoever out there has the last name Shutt, but it's a great ornery asshole name.
Sorry already to anybody who has the last name Shutt. That's just
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that Canada really came out in that story. It's pretty good.
Really? Like, are you just making fun of me, or did that sound really Canadian?
Yeah, it did. Like you never really do, and that one came out real good.
Okay, I can try to slur my words and sound like I've got less soul if you guys need me to Americanize a little.
Okay, that's right. That's how we sound.
That's how you sound. Loud noise. I need to make sure my microphone knows it's happening, because otherwise it doesn't get on the recording, and that's no good.
It's never not gotten on the recording. Where does this like myth come from?
It's the Discord thing. If Grigori's recording the whole episode, if my mic doesn't activate, you won't hear it. My mic won't activate on time for that, so I need to make sure it's primed to pick up the important part of the episode.
It's so funny. It's been brought up multiple times, and I'm like, I don't think there's been one episode where I haven't heard at least 1 or 2 Coke cans.
Well, that's right, because I prepare. I need to make sure.
Right, of course, yes. We've established a pattern at this point.
I don't interrupt people with it, at least. I interrupt myself with it. That's just my gift to all of you. I'm overwhelmingly generous and considerate.
The most considerate man, you may say.
Exactly. You haven't considered how this just reflects well on me. I don't think we give me enough credit for that.
we don't think we don't give it a credit. We were shifting from better safe than sorry, I think, to talk about some more Feo and Wilson. This article that Nico you picked out, which was one of your tales, which I don't get it, but I'll figure it out, which is the story of how Feo came out to her dad.
You're supposed to understand this before we talk about them, Grigori. Why don't you get it? What's it called again?
So, ignoring Harry.
What's it called again? Just say the title again, because I've introduced confusion. What's the title called?
I don't get it, but I'll figure it out.
Why don't you get the title? Okay, yeah.
God damn it.
God.
Mwah. Carry on.
So
Come on, this
tale.
podcast is really.
Let Nico speak.
Listen. This podcast is really rimpling now, so I need.
I was avoiding making a rimple joke. I had one.
No,
It's
forever.
really bad, I admit.
Okay, let Nico speak.
So about this tale, this tale is about the relationship between Tim and Faye, or at least how it could be, in a sense, because this is an idealized version of their relationship. It doesn't exactly play out like this in how it is in Wonderful World, which is pretty much like the main canon for Wilson's. If that makes any sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
So, in this story, Beowyn comes out to her dad as trans, and he accepts her. And that's all nice and good, but there's another story called I Get It, in which DarkStuff wrote, in which Tim very much does not get it.
Yeah, basically, Nico wrote a very nice story about our characters getting along and having a nice time, and everybody liked it. And then I was like, I can torture these characters. I could make this real unhappy, actually. And so my worst impulses took hold of me, and in a daze, I was like, I'm just gonna shit all over Nico's wonderful story. And write the same thing, except that Tim does not get it and is in fact being quite transphobic in his own internal monologue, and like kind of trying to not let it come out, but in a very disingenuous way that Faywin picks up on, and seeding their strained relationship.
So being a boomer dad, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's being a boomer dad. He's being a boomer dad, and he is being transphobic through ignorance as opposed to malice,
Right.
which I believe to be important for Tim's character. But it is still important that, Faywin and him did not get along perfectly well. There is more drama there also in the family life and home life, where Faye is Tim's daughter from his first marriage,
Right.
and Tim moved away to Oregon and continued with his second marriage until his death, and that's where her half-brothers Robin and Anders come from. So when Faywin comes and takes over the family business, it is kind of out of nowhere. In a scale of like years, she still is there for years before she takes over the business, but Robin and Anders have been there their whole life, expecting that one or the other of them would take Tim's place, and instead she does. And that whole mire of family tension is the basis of Take It Away, My Darling.
I like, because from the ones that I read about it, I like that family drama does not go to suit. I mean, it's very relatable and understandable because that is a tense situation anyway. Whenever, one of the parents moves on and makes a new family, it can be difficult, obviously. But I like that, none of these characters hate each other. They don't immediately. It doesn't immediately turn into so many movies when portraying this sort of relationship show it in such a way that it's like, oh well, they're the stepbrothers must really just hate each other. It's like, and you're like, no, listen, that's not always how the way it works. You can have tension without being, a fucking stereotype. But I did want to say one thing before we get back to I Don't Get It, which is now hearing about I Get It and how Tim had some problems understanding it from your perspective, that informs a little bit about the way that in Faye Goes to the Shelter, There's a couple of moments where I was like, I swear to God, he's about to dead name her. But then, that wasn't totally clear, but now that sort of makes it that he's still adjusting.
Having read the two both tales, they both play on each other like that really well.
It's really smart.
It adds to both of them that they both exist. It's really kind of cool.
But I do want to get back to I don't get it, because Nico, I want to say that like the emotional heart of this story, I mean, like, sure, it's meant to be touching, and it is, but I also feel like it's done in a very grounded, very believable way. Like, you can feel like Feowin's pain and frustration at just existence, going through this tough time, obviously, which, I obviously cannot understand perfectly, but can relate to still, and I just want to say how fucking effective this tale is.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Thank you. I wrote it I was talking to a friend who I unfortunately no longer have contact with. She deleted her Discord account, who was really struggling with herself and her dysphoria and her relationship to her dad. And I wrote this tale partially to inspire her to come out to her dad, because she wanted to for the longest time, but she just couldn't work herself to do it. And she did. And it went well.
That's great. What a fantastic background story to this.
That adds a lot to that, yeah.
That is a wonderful
already
story.
A good story, but that's such...
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's a whole other dimension to it.
I don't think I had heard that part.
So anyone that thinks that SCP is not the gayest thing imaginable, tough shit.
Oh, it is.
And I'm a cis straight boy, but it doesn't matter because it's gay as hell. Mm-hmm. Shut the fuck up.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Yeah.
It's a great tale anyway, because of course one of the things Nico does the best is write stories about characters relating and slice of life and developing the people who are in the stories, and this is a good example of something that you are always good at.
Thank you. I appreciate
you also do, which while we have you on the show, we brought you up before because you do these really punchy short SCPs that really throw you for a loop, and I fucking love that. And totally different, not taken away from what Harry just said, but while we're singing your praises, we've brought it up a few times where you are really good at doing something that's like 1,000 to 1,500 words, but still like knocking you for a loop, which is great.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, anyway,
yeah, I think Wilson's Wildlife. It makes so much sense that Nico is a huge Wilson's Wildlife author, because this is just so exactly there. Like, Wilson's creates the exact type of slice of lifey space on the wiki.
It makes sense that you both have done so much work in and around each other, because I feel like you both do a really good job with like character stuff, and not just and I think I do good at that too, but in a very different way. You do the interpersonal dramas without it falling into I hate you, I'm gonna kill you, or whatever. It never feels soap opera-y, is my point, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you. I think that if I were to put words to it, although they might be clumsy because I'm coming up with them on the spot, I like writing simmering, uncomfortable tension between peoples, and I don't ever really bring that to a boil.
But that's good. That's real. People...
It's more real to my lived experience, which makes it much easier to write.
That's the bracket where the drama is the strongest.
Yeah, most of my interpersonal stresses, except for a few very notable exceptions, they don't come to a boil. Like, we deal with people all the time that we care about or that we hate, but that, you're never going to have a huge confrontation with. I mean, it's good to have some of these confrontations, but there's also lots of points in everybody's life where, like, it would be detrimental to bring this to the boil. We just have to live with it.
Yeah.
And that brings a lot of nuance to characters in a lot of really interesting ways.
You heard it here first, folks. Grigori Karpin is a bundle of unresolved tension.
Yeah, no one is surprised at all.
And so Wilson's
doesn't fit with my headcanon for you, Al.
Wilson's really worked.
Master. Sorry, go on.
I can laugh about it.
It's good. Wilson's really works for both myself and Nico because, as I see it, Nico, you write much like happier resolutions, and more
the dark author and the light author.
Yeah, more compassion between the characters.
Okay, wait. Dark Stuff writes the darker ones that are less compassionate, and Uncle Nicolini writes the ones that are more like friendly and family oriented.
Talk about grim dark stuff.
Yeah.
You get the uncle and you get the dark.
But yeah, I think also just as we're talking about slice of life, it's worth saying a design philosophy. If we are to give myself so much credit as to say that I went into Wilson's Wildlife Solutions with a fucking design philosophy, which I probably didn't, but I, for a long time, have really wanted more civilian stories on the site.
Oh yeah.
SCP kind of exists in this Harry Potter world where fucking there's Hogwarts and there's the Muggles, and the Muggles just don't really matter, pretty much at all. And so after being, a reader and writer of SCP for so long, I started being like, where are the stories of the people like discovering the anomalous, and like the people who only scratch the surface? And shout out, Parawatch also addresses a lot of these themes.
Yeah.
And I actually don't remember which order they came out in, but I think Wilson's Wildlife Solutions and Parawatch were both in like the 2018-2019 sphere. I think they came out really close to each other. So maybe two different ways to answer the same type of a trend in SCP writing.
Harry, you want to do like a really loud narrated search?
Yes, please. I've been waiting. It's been too long. Could you tell me when the first Parawatch article came out?
Slash search. That's my spacebar. If you didn't hear it, I'll do it again. Spacebar. Oh, it didn't work because Chrom's search is kind of weird because they forced them to do slash command search query. That's it. No, I don't want to. No, it's slash list. Right. Slash list.
This is good. This is really good radio.
Parawatch. Enter.
Parawatch.
Oh wait, no, I searched for all. Oh, I got date descending. Is that good? Is there, or do I want ascending? I wanted ascending. I have to redo it again. Slash. Parawatch. More order date ascending. Yeah.
Ass ending.
The ass ending. It is apparently now this. I don't. You'll have to tell me if this is correct. The first thing. Do we want the first Parawatch like tail format or the first thing it appears in?
The thing is, Parawatch first appeared in like 2016 when Nat Bolt wrote something about it.
Oh yeah.
But then she didn't write anything about it for years. And then in 2019, I think it was, Hippo started writing for it. And
of course, Nico comes in with the completely factual steel chair after that entire bit. Yes, it's SCP-3840. We stand on guard for thee, which. Why would you stand on guard for the
that was the beginning of Parawatch? I know that article. I did not remember that was the Parawatch article. Yeah, that makes sense that like that would be the start of Parawatch, but not like the spiritual start of Parawatch, because I do not think of Parawatch like that. The vibe there feels very different.
What's the first Parawatch tale, though? I feel like we probably covered this in our Parawatch episode, and we're just like...
I'm certain you did.
But like we're old and we have Alzheimer's.
I miss Nat Voltaic. I think they're not around anymore.
Nope.
Because I feel like that would be the right guest for a Church of Second Hideout. I think.
Yeah. Like possibly the only.
Yeah, which means we'll just have to do it without the creator, but that's fine.
Yeah, but we've done that for most things. The picking up the celebrities thing was sort of a later deal. You're all celebrities, by the way, in case you weren't aware of that. So that looks like the oldest Parawatch tale, which is the site's absolutely moronic and bullshit way to describe Parawatch's GOI formats, was Aboisenheit by the Great Hippo. I don't think I've ever even seen this one.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
I mean, you could just say that, and I just have no way of disagreeing with you.
Sorry, I remember when he wrote it.
Oh, okay, that's much more detail. I believe you now.
You know what? while we're here, I just want to say a thought that has had no relevance to my life or anything for many, many years, and just occurred to me, and I was like, oh my god, I should say it. So, one time, being in a side chat with Nat, I saw a picture of them, and I will reveal nothing, of course, that is private.
Okay.
But I did have a moment where I was like, oh my god, we could be related. Like, you look like you belong in my family, and I thought that was too weird to like say to them, so I've just been holding on to that.
Just gonna put it out into the universe that hopefully at some point Matt notices.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, you look related to my mom's side of the family. Like, you have exactly the face shape.
This is hilarious. This is so good. This is just DarkStuff's just been holding on to this for years, and now
not a single person has heard of this.
Thanks to Simply Creative People, this story is preserved forever.
What are you even saying, Nico?
Nothing.
You look like you belong in my family.
Yeah.
You fucking weirdo. It's so perfect. Thank you so much for coming here and doing this.
You're welcome.
No. With you is so perfect.
DarkStuff should be thanking us for giving
me the opportunity.
That's right.
Yes, share
to get this out there.
Extremely important information with the world.
All right.
This is my favorite episode already. This is so
okay.
This is changing my life.
Stay tuned for the next episode of Simply Creative People, where your life will be changed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Let's go to the next one, though. So we have another article. You Have Roaches by Fieldstone.
Yeah.
Which is
Tale.
Yeah, it's a tale, and I mean, DarkStuff, I'll give it to you in a second, but I just want to say this is so... There's a weird, like, anomaly going on in this guy's apartment or house. I guess it's a house, actually, where there's this weird, like, sort of floor... A piece of a floor is being replaced, essentially, by a colony of roaches, like thousands and thousands of roaches. But the important thing here is how Wilson's is the kind of organization that would receive a call about this, like Animal Control or an exterminator. And this Wilson's employee acts like pretty much any exterminator I've ever talked to, except for they've seen weird shit. It's basically, it's so on point. Like, I was living in a house that got unfortunately infested by rats, and we had to deal with a lot of exterminators. And it was exactly like this, where they were just like, yeah, that's the way it works. Just deadpan. Yeah, you're going to get rats. That's what's going to happen. I'm like, what? I'm horrified. Really, really good shit. Anyway, all right, DarkStuff, why does this one live in your heart?
Oh, I love this one.
It's great.
I love this one so much. It's my favorite, I'm going to say underrated, Wilson's Wildlife Solutions article. Because
the fact that Wilson's has so much panache that a tale at 54 can be considered underrated and accurate because it's such a popular GOI that's hilarious.
Thank you. Is thank you the correct word there?
I don't know.
No.
It's a phrase. I don't know if you know, but thank you is a phrase. But anyway.
Well, and excuse you, Grigori.
Wow.
I type out.
Oh, right, as if you weren't burning to make that
thank
statement,
you.
Harry.
Yeah,
As
obviously
a
I have no grammar tendencies at all.
Not at all.
But You Have Roaches captures such a perfect one. I do. Such a perfect, wonderful vibe. Because it's not like the typical wholesome wildlife story that Wilson's does, but it still portrays someone who is just so unimpressed with the weirdest possible shit. Interacting.
There's kind of a wholesomeness to it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's about self-improvement, man.
It is.
Yeah, there's this great, I just love the logic that seems to come, that it's not just invading his house, but his personal space metaphysically as well. Like, it's such...
This is what I think of as the Dr. Cimmerian approach to writing something. This is such a Cimmerian thing to write. It's...
Yeah.
I'll give $5 to whoever proves that I'm wrong about this. The title came first, and they went, how can I play on that title? And they came up with, you have roaches. You have roaches. I get it.
Okay.
I have
now
everything. Sumerian comes up with the title and can think of a way to pun it, and then that's the article.
I mean, the author posted. I found.
No. I want to get the $5.
All right. Okay.
I want to get the $5. I was already on it, and you interrupted me.
It's my show.
I deserve these $5.
Canadian.
Whatever.
What can I do with $5 Canadian anyway?
Like it's just like $2.50. No, I'm just kidding.
The author post says, "I found a dead bug under my bed, and then this happened."
And
so
I hope you are
think...
all taking care of yourselves.
Do you have
yes.
a Ko-Fi? Do you have a Ko-Fi, DarkStuff?
I have a face that you can personally bring $5 to.
Why would you bring someone's face money? Eat this.
I have a pocket that you can line with $5 if you meet me in person. I will not be meeting you halfway.
I guess
you have to come to Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
All right.
So just keep that in mind when next we meet, which will happen.
Right. The next time we meet, I owe you $5 Canadian.
Yes.
I have it in my wallet right now because people don't take paper money anymore.
Yeah, perfect. Don't you dare lose that $5.
Yeah, I'll take a picture of it. You can see it. It's real. It's right here with me.
Write my name
put it in
on
the
it,
chat.
please.
I should do that instead of contributing to this discussion. I'm gonna go find my wallet.
Okay.
Anyway, it's around here somewhere.
But
keep you updated.
Thank you. So you have roaches. Wonderful story where Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, one of the subversions that it does on the site culture is that it's people who interact with the anomalous and love it and love life and have kind of a worldview that accepts and is happy with not knowing everything, right? Yeah. And of course, the SCP Foundation's typical vibe is we don't understand this, put it in a box or kill it. Which is, wonderful. Great for them, but I kind of like Wilson's Wildlife's vibe a little bit better. And it circles all the way back around in this story where we're not interacting with the SCP Foundation, but we're interacting with a guy who is experiencing a wild, magical, anomalous circumstance, and is kind of rightly terrified by it, which is the usual SCP fare, right? This is like how many stories start. But then Wilson's Wildlife comes in, and there's a guy who's seen it all before, and correctly interprets the metaphysical meaning of this colony of cockroaches.
The
because
leap in
that's
logic
a thing.
is so good. Like, it's so 1 to 2 to 3. Like, it's so good.
He's like, looks like these cockroaches are not just in your bedroom. It looks like if you move, they'll come with you. And the guy's like, what? And it's like, yeah, they're in your soul, basically. And he puts I forget what exactly the implement is, but I'm going to say like a pen or something. He sticks a pen into a roach to reveal that the roach is like a hole in reality that you can put things through. You can't quite touch them and pick them up, which is already weird. And then he sticks it so deep into the cockroach, and the guy feels a little thing poking out from under his skin, and rightly, once again, freaks the fuck out. And this guy's like, yep, as I suspected. This is your standard roach in your soul infestation.
I love that, he starts by kind of going off about the fact that it's not just in the house, it's in his personal space, and then extrapolates from there. It could have been a way less effective tale if the guy came out from the beginning of the conversation and saying, oh yeah, your soul's infested by roaches. Instead, kind of taking a little bit more of a roundabout path to explaining it. It's all, not only is it believable, but the guy at the end is like, wait, how do I fix it? Well, you got to change who you are.
Yeah, and that's fucking wonderful. Such great, and here's this, Wilson's Wildlife guy who's seen the magical, is totally at peace with it, knows how to handle it, And just by virtue of dealing with what he deals with, he goes from like a pest control guy to like
life coach.
Life coach. But that's just like his job, and he treats it exactly the same way. He doesn't like give an inspirational speech. He's just like, "Yep, these are how it is." And the implication as to the world that this takes place in is just perfect in my eyes. Like, You Have Roaches, I feel, is a fantastic introductory story to practically the entire wiki. It's just such a good, like...
Awesome.
It also feels like it could exist in a book that has nothing to do with SCP.
Totally.
As, like, a weird curiosity story. But then that there is, like, this connection to all the stuff underneath is fantastic.
Just another, like, so many tales. I mean, some tales are very, very steeply rooted in the stuff to do with the in-world universe. But, like, so many tales that are on the wiki or on the Wanderer's Library, you know, it is really the best example of what we've been saying since we started the podcast, which is, you know, this is all just about strange fiction. And strange fiction can be anything. It can be... You know, it's magical realism, but, you know, one step removed, really.
Magical surrealism.
That's right. That's a better explanation, but, okay, so, I really like
just to
that one,
update the audience at home, though, I did show them my $5 bill.
And
I'm looking at it.
Really fake.
But it is mine.
It's an interesting thing to say, because your money is easy to
it.
counterfeit, and ours is fucking impossible.
That's true.
Look at all the shit they got going on this goddamn thing. Transparency, like actual translucency and watermarks up the wazoo.
Yeah,
I will say
what smart countries do with their money, like many European nations. And America's like, nah!
It's gotta be green.
I will say, as someone who has traveled, though, all the monies that have, like, transparency, and thus they're, like, plasticky, I do not like how they feel more than American dollars. Yeah, I do not like it.
It's strange. They do feel weird, and they're bringing considerably less history, by which I mean bacteria, with them.
Yeah, if I'm not getting cocaine and feces on my money, how do I know it's real?
Are you really even getting money at all?
I mean, you really can't call it.
I lick every dollar to see if it's legit.
You really can't call it cocaine money unless it comes from the cocaine region of France. So just, you know.
I wasn't under the impression cocaine money was dirty. Don't they have to launder it first?
Oh, God.
Oh, wait. I've got something for this. Wait a second. Don't say anything.
You have a freaking soundboard?
Don't say anything. Where is it? I hate these fucking things. Badoom tish. There, yeah. Nobody's allowed to use that again. These things are terrible. So we just won't do that ever again.
I tried to figure out how to do the soundboard thing so I could use it, and it was so terrible that I just gave up immediately.
Well, if you do come up with sounds you want, I could probably add them to our On Guard 4.3 server, and then we could use them from there.
Assuming that these buttons that I'm looking at actually do things, as in, like, assuming I can use the soundboard from other servers I'm in, I definitely have the ability to just absolutely ruin this podcast for everybody. No, put it away!
Thanks, Nico.
Put it away!
Oh my God, who did that?
Shut up. I have brony sounds that I can poison this podcast with.
I was having such a nice time.
No.
I was having such a nice time, and then someone air horned me.
Yeah, it's terrible that happened to you and not us.
Yeah.
It was targeted. All you.
Okay.
All right, so SCP, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got one more on our list before the lightning round.
That's right. So, no, we have just.
Did we do Faye Goes to the Shelter? Because we did these all
we started with that. Yeah.
Like,
I know it started on the list, but is that the first one we talked about?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So then we've got Nico's Bandit poster.
Right. So Adoption Poster Bandit by Nico, which I picked because I didn't feel like we had enough Nico on this list. Also, I just fucking love this one. And this
never enough Nico. This one's great.
This one's because this one plays against type in some ways because there is a nice twist, and I ultimately do not want to totally give it away.
Which means we're just name dropping it?
No, because I mean, it's a cute raccoon looking for a good home, or is it? I mean, there's something going on here. I do really appreciate how one of the things that I like the most about some articles, and I brought it up before, and not just Wilson's, but in general, is how the twist at the end, which a lot of people can do, and it can just be effective, and it's a good twist, but that can inform the way that you read things. Like, so if you look at these, if you read through it directly, don't just skip to the end, you read through these testimonials and then you go back and look at them knowing the twist, it totally paints it in a new light, and I fucking love it. And I just wanted to add this one because I thought, Nico, you did such a good job with it.
Thank you.
It just feels like it's heading for a totally different twist. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh no, I see where this is. What?
Honestly, my favorite thing about this article is that I snuck in a little joke in there about how Samuel Chi and his husband couldn't see their mom's ghost anymore because they had a whole house exorcism because they thought that bandit was possessed.
That was so funny. I love these little just like out of nowhere, full out of left field jokes in the middle of it are so good. It's beautiful.
It's really good. And I mean, as another hint, but I won't say which, this is actually an older Series 2 SCP that is interpreted for Wilson's.
Yeah, another good example of those.
I love taking, and we talked a lot about this on the Wondertainment episode. Listen to that. I love taking site lore and just fucking twisting it all up.
I mean, that's what I'm having the most fun with now with the no return stuff. I mean, it's just that's what's so much fun about GOIs and canons, that it gives you the excuse to take stuff that you didn't write necessarily, but you always wanted to touch. And it's not just you copying it; it's you interpreting it through this other lens, and it's awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking phenomenal. It's like my favorite thing.
Like, whoever thought that? I mean, like, I used to complain about this character all the time, but now I have multiple pieces of fiction that involve alto clef.
Yep.
Yeah, wouldn't have expected that.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff just lying around for you to pick up and play with, and sometimes you can reconfigure it into ways that you find really entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, like, I
include to do too.
It's so much fun. It's great.
What was that, Nico?
That's one of my favorite things to do too. I love taking characters and just doing my own thing with them. And like, I did that a lot with King Pathos Crow.
Sure.
I for some reason I really like King Pathos Crow, and for the longest time I've had this idea in my head for a critter profile for King Pathos Crow.
Oh my god,
that would be so good.
That would be hilarious.
It pretty much like it's talking dog. And Wilson is just like, he's pretty mean. He keeps calling us mean things, but he doesn't mean it.
He keeps saying, "Don't you know who I am?"
I've just never been able to sit down and write it because I don't know how to finish it.
Right.
I think it's really fun. Like, twice now I've done stuff that I have found like memey and annoying and just twisted it. Like, I enjoyed the premise of Dado, but like very quickly Dado got really old for me. Like, it just kind of felt like it was the same joke, and it wanted to do a victim thing, and I was like, well, what if we, and I don't know if he came up with the idea or if I did, but it came very quickly to, let's do a Dado meets victim. And my entire goal from the very beginning was I just wanted to have Dado break character because he's so frustrated.
It's a weird thing you see when you really kind of dislike something, but you've spent it.
But I want to add to it.
That the contempt breeds familiarity somehow.
And not like the stories where somebody wants to go burn down Wilson's, but like, where like this was totally something that I don't hate the concept of Dado, but like I just kind of every time it's like, all right, and they're often very clever and well written, but the joke was always just Dado doesn't know how to speak and doesn't use punctuation, is a bad economic actor, and I just was like, I just want to fuck with that without being mean to the people who have enjoyed it. And this works the same. I think Wilson's works so well with that, not even like mean, but just like, hey, there's this thing. There's this article about a raccoon, quote unquote. What if I do something, in Wilson's about that? And it works. Same thing with Parawatch. I think Parawatch does that really well too.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Yeah, taking a new angle on something for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That is almost exactly my my creative journey with Wondertainment.
Sure.
Yeah, just bringing it back there. You gave me an amazing segue to once again talk about Wondertainment of just
all
like
roads lead to dark stuff.
Yes, I make it about me.
TM.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for acknowledging my trademark that I put on all my articles. If you've ever used any part of my article without paying me royalties, it's illegal, and please do.
Yes, they're released under CC BY.
Oh my god, the lawyer part of my brain wants to correct that so bad.
But just like reading a lot of stuff and feeling like I don't fully like how this is done, and deciding to just completely change it. Similar with the Black Queen. I just was never really taken with her concept.
Same, 100%.
And then I was like, I'm going to write an origin story for her, and did, and really enjoyed writing that. There's just something about, I don't know, when I see stuff that's done really well, it doesn't inspire me to write.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, oh, they already did it. Like, Shark Punching Center and Fifthism, perfect. There's nothing to change. I have nothing to add. It is beautiful. It's immaculate. They're like my favorite stuff, and I'll never write them. And then there's other stuff on the site where I'm just like a little dissatisfied by, like, not that people are enjoying it the way they're enjoying it. Have your fun, do your thing. It's just like, it's not to my likings, and for some reason I'm more inspired by things that aren't to my likings.
That's fair. I mean,
because then I'm like, how could I make this?
That is really good, like, fuel for creativity. Let's face it. I do also like playing with stuff that I just have always been impressed with and just interpreting it in different ways. But yeah, I get what you mean. All right, well, let's, we got some emails to go to, so let's go through this lightning round real quick.
Yeah, let me just interrupt the lightning round to just throw mine in there, because I brought it up in the group chat and then forgot to remind everybody to put it on the list, and we're not going to talk about it because you can't talk about it. I want to recommend my favorite critter profile, which is a format screw of the critter profile, and it's called, I have to say this exactly correctly, Critter Profile Chuck. Nicolini. So if you want to go check that one out, it's fucking perfect.
I'll include the link in the show description so people can check it.
Right.
Yes. Okay.
Chuck. And there's no way to talk about it without ruining it. So go read that.
That's true. Go read it.
Yeah. Chuck.
The format is exclamation point. They're like critter profile, old spark. Like, and this one is Chuck.
I saw a niche and I filled it.
Shock. It's not old Spark. It's old Shock, because I was thinking Sparky, which is the Ralston Nicolini one, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. There's so many Wilsons. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. They're multiplying.
38.
Wow.
So, real quick, there's a lightning round. I just wanted to shout out a few more authors. Adoption poster Pearl by Rounderhouse, which is about a cute little pig who can just eat just about anything. Enjoys tinfoil and wood chips, for example, but not ceramics. And has a really fucked up punchline. Like, it totally
which
throws...
you'll see coming, but it'll still get
Yeah, exactly. Critter Profile Vizzy by LE3. Who's a pygmy goat that is incredibly stealthy, almost mimetically so. You can read into that what you will. And then Critter Profile Eddie, which is by T. Staffer.
I crit this one. It's fun.
It's fucking great. And it's SCP-6266.
But it's an SCP.
Yeah. Yeah, it's SCP-6266, which is about the Foundation trying to push off an anomaly onto Wilson's. And I don't really want to say anything about it. It's really short. It's fucking incredible. And it's so underrated. Just
stuff.
A lot of T. Staffer stuff I feel like are unsung, and they're pretty great.
During the lightning round, I would like to shout out. We talked about it earlier, but I found the name of it. Catfish is the name of the article where they go and burn down Wilson's Wildlife Solutions.
Wow. That's also by Fieldstone.
It is. So I don't believe that Fieldstone did that. I don't think Fieldstone was part of the Wilson's Wildlife hate.
Clearly not.
But there was another article that was being shopped around that was by somebody.
Oh my god, this is in the OC tournament.
Yeah, the original.
Which we are having a sequel of right now. That's weird.
Yep.
Full circle.
I'm just scrolling through everything to see if there's another article not by myself or Nico that I want to shout out. There's plenty of really good ones. I mean, just fucking go through the critter profiles. Big Blue is hilarious. Critter profile, Big Blue.
I feel like we talked about that in a previous episode.
It's really good.
It is really good.
I think did we talk
it's
about
really
Trunko?
good.
I think that's an IP one because we always have to just constantly throw IP
Which
in there.
one?
Yeah, Danger Trunko. That's an IP article. There,
I think we definitely.
I think we did.
I want to shout out Zargoth, Destroyer of Dimensions. That's 3.
Thank you. I really like. Oh my god, it's really high. Sorry, I'm always surprised by how well it's done.
Oh my god. Just shut up.
Yeah. Sorry.
There, another upvote. Okay.
So thank you.
All right. Let's read some emails and get out of here.
Let's do it.
Okay. Dark Stuff, you want to read this first one from Fern?
Sure. After I cough.
That was actually in the email.
Yeah,
all
It
scripted.
starts out after I.
This
cough.
is the most scripted episode we've ever had.
Yes.
Yeah, this is all. But
Fern says, "Hey, creatively simple people. I loved episode
Don't
with
encourage
Davaful and Totalisoft Company make computers. That being said, and joke being done, I can't wait to see what you say about Wilson's Wildlife Solutions since you're doing these more next-gen GOI. Oh, it's a next-gen GOI.
Oh, GOI.
The second half, certainly. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Would an episode on the Wandsman be possible in the future?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next email. All right. Harry, you want to read this next one?
I absolutely do. I love that you don't forget that I have a contractual obligation to read Real Surrealser's emails because it makes me so happy to say out loud Real Surrealser. Real Surrealser says, "Hello!" exclamation point, which could be a critter profile title. Critter profile. Hello! I really enjoyed the last few episodes, even if I haven't been emailing like used to. You're out of practice, obviously. As for this episode, I'm so sorry. I'm like this. I can't help it.
Rimpling up Real Surrealser's email.
Yes,
Harry.
That's true. I'm taking it to a really dark stuff place, and I should.
Okay.
A grim dark stuff.
Okay.
As for this episode right now, I'd like to just ask how you all would suggest getting in to a deep-ish level. This is unreadable. Why would you use so many different formats in one fucking... Okay, I'm going to try to read it normally, because I just like to ask how y'all would suggest getting into a deepish level as to a recurring setting like, say, I don't know, for Oregon's sake, let's say 3 ports. It's a fucking impossible sentence. It's not my fault.
Yeah. It's not your fault.
Okay, let me translate this from English to English. I'd like to know how do you get into how do you get a deep level on a recurring set? I don't understand the question. And also, just opinions on reading and or interpreting common settings, like such that heavily feature in major series /canon /storylines outside default or usual interpretation.
I'm not sure I get this question.
I think might been having a stroke, but I think the question was how do you get into something that's really established and there's a lot of
a setting?
Yeah. Yes.
So it's definitely with a setting.
I feel like I may have hurt myself reading it out loud, but
Harry hurt himself in confusion.
So I think
this was the surreal and surreal, sir.
For myself, I think that there's 2 answers to this question because it depends on if you want to get into it because you just want to read about it. Right. I think you find a Tale series in that setting is going to be your best bet, honestly, and then you expand outwards from there.
So for 3 Portlands, just read Jacob Conwell's things.
That's a lot. There's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
Go back to the episode. Go back to the episode. We did a whole. There's a couple of series we called out, and then go to that show description and you click some of those links.
That's the answer. To get into these settings, watch our episodes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yes, that's true.
Listen to.
You will want to first upvote all of Grigori and Harry's articles.
Yes. More so mine.
Yeah.
Because it needs more attention. Because I didn't win any K-Cons. Yet, please. But I think there's a different answer if you want to write for it, because I think if you just focus in on a tale series, you're gonna think that that's the only way to write for it. I think you want to get like a wide, a surface level understanding of the setting before you start writing for it.
Right.
I think it's really common. I get a lot of people who want to write victim after they've read like one article. I think it's a really good idea to like just do a little bit of homework. Read 5 or 6 in a canon or in a setting or with a specific tag. That's how I ended up writing a Davite hub, was being so frustrated that nothing made sense. And my hub doesn't really make it more sense, but that's part of the charm. But I didn't get that. I definitely think you want to find a hub, with not tail hub necessarily, but a hub for a canon or a hub for a nexus, and then just sort of like dip your toes in, read some stuff at random, see if there's names that you recognize. Obviously, that's always good advice. But then, read some stuff that you don't recognize. You just want to get a feel for it.
Mm-hmm.
Read.
And then write, and then make mistakes, and then people call you out in the comments, and you go, "I'm so sorry," and then you change it.
That's right. Yeah, and don't give up. If for example, you're writing something about Victim, or you're writing something about Three Portlands, or you're writing something about Wilson's, and somebody who knows more comes in and says, "Hey, I don't know if this quite works the way you have it," that doesn't mean someone's telling you to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. Some people might mean that, and some people are mean.
Yeah, it really depends.
But you don't have to take it that way. You can even take mean critique as a inspiration to make this thing better.
Yes, plenty of people on our website, particularly if they've been here for a few years, are not saying the things that they are saying to make your life or your work better. But hey, sometimes you can use it that way anyway.
Even if someone's left a nasty comment that actually makes suggestions, fuck them. The author's dead and all that stuff, and just do your, take it as, inspiration to make it better or make it more fitting. But don't jump in with 2 feet before you really have a feeling for what the setting is. Like, just read a bit. That's what all good writers do, honestly. Except for, like, say, Ernest Hemingway, and he sucks. So
there you go. You heard it here, folks.
Hot take.
Yeah.
All right.
The old man and the salt over here, man.
I fucking hate Ernest Hemingway. All right. Boris. I will read Boris's email. Hello, Wilson's
Read
Wildlife.
it in like a Boris and Natasha voice.
That seems inappropriate. Wilson's Wildlife Solutions is, in a way, a very different GOI from the rest. I, at least, enjoy reading their profiles very much, while never considering what is the deeper lore to the whole organization. I'm honestly unsure if such lore exists. It does, in the tale series we mentioned.
It does.
What is interesting is that the kindness and gentle methods of Wilson's are never really framed as a weakness, even when they encounter animals way out of their league, like genuine anti-mimetic creatures. I appreciate that, but I don't know if there's another GOI like that. Usually a conception of anomalies contrary to that of the Foundation leads to terrible things happening, but not here. I don't know if anyone ever wrote anti-Wilson. We already talked about story. But I almost think it would be a betrayal of what they're all about. It was.
We're education.
That person sucks.
Super education.
Do you think there's a point in the story where Wilson's doesn't secure a dangerous anomaly and millions die? I don't think that would work, but that is how most GOIs go.
That's so out of scope for Wilson's.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately...
Check out SCP-8000 by DarkStuff and Uncle Nicolini.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, ultimately, most of this... I mean, even though there are some crazy, anomalies that Wilson's deals with, most of the time it's, it's things that could be reasonably dealt with a animal shelter. A specialized one, sure, but that's kind of part of the scope. What was that one series where, I think it was Uranium Empire, or I'm not sure who was doing the thing with Wilson's dealing with SCP-682, but without the Foundation?
Yeah, that was in the Unfounded canon.
Yeah, that was
canon Renaissance contest.
Yeah,
Asmodeus.
Yep.
God, that
What's
was
the-
That was good.
What's
so
the name of that
good.
one? Oh, Heart of the
Asmodeus.
Beast. Wasn't that Heart of the Beast?
Yep.
No, I think it was it. Oh,
Yeah,
anyway.
I think it is.
Ace Mallard?
Yep.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
Mallard, and who else was on the team?
Uranium Empire, Hippo, and I think that's it.
Okay,
And
yeah.
Soulless
Soulless.
Singularity.
Man, I miss Soulless.
But that stuff is
That was a
go
great
back to the Canon Rendicon page and read all my stuff. But then read the Asmodeus because that shit was amazing.
One sec. I want to see. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, this is really
I-
great.
If you're
Go
looking
ahead.
something up, you're supposed to type loudly and narrate.
Yeah, the typing doesn't matter. It's the narration that's really
No. See, I have an eidetic memory, and I'm just searching through my mind palace. But yeah, that's another. That's a freaking almost plus 100. It's at plus 76. Tale by Wilson's. I was wondering if it was at plus 100 because I remembered it.
Nice.
Anyways,
we are
yeah.
encouraging
Don't
the upcoming
don't
con.
Yes.
don't pull a muscle by patting yourself in the back too hard. Okay? No, I'm kidding. Okay, who wants to read this email from UNC Griffin?
I think Nico should.
I shall read this email.
Thank you.
Hello! DarkStuff and Uncle Nicolini's Take It Away, My Darling was actually one of the first series I read on the website, and it
Hey,
remains
nice.
one of my absolute favorites. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going through a gender crisis myself at the time, and it seriously helped me realize that being trans is just a thing you can be. I'm glad it helped you.
That's
Oh.
awesome.
Don't have any questions for you today, but wanted to let you know that your podcast has been really helping me deal with my dissociation issues lately, so many thanks. Keep up the
Wow.
great work.
Damn.
Well, we're
That's-
all like kind of awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad
Thank you, UNC
find it
Griffin.
helpful. That's amazing.
It's like a meeting of saints in here. Holy shit!
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't know.
Come on, who now? Who's patting themselves on the back?
Well, I'm going to
Jeez.
take it away
Selectively,
because I'm a
you're not
Jew
supposed
and
to
we don't
point it
have
out.
saints, so we have prophets. But I'm not one of those. So
They don't have saints in my religion either.
yeah. All right, Harry, you want to read this one from Montague?
Sure, Montague. I can't say I read much of WWS, but here's my 2 cents. I made it sound like a war, but here's my 2 cents anyway. I think it's interesting how, in an environment where most GOIs are either unambiguously antagonistic forces, or at least started out that way, WWS, now it sounds like wrestling, started out as a benevolent group on good terms with the Foundation. This is true. I also like the queer aspects of the GOI because I'm predictable.
So SCP is gay.
SCP is very gay.
It is very gay.
In regards to WWS recommendations, I suggest reading the Insect Hell entry in the 2018 Doomsday contest. It's not really a WWS story per se, but WWS does play a major role in the narrative.
Yep, Critter
And then it
Profile
says-
Genghis.
Yeah, this is from me.
Oh, this is from Grigori, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, why is it saying me? Okay, this is from Grigori, and I'm gonna read it even though it's Grigori. Shout out to Jackal Related who wrote it. Yes, Jackal.
Let's go,
Yeah.
Jackal.
Yeah, that
Hey.
article is awesome, and we were just kind of running out of time, but I did want to include it here, so we'll throw the
Insect
link.
Hell.
Yeah, it's really great. I don't really
Are we
care
running out of time?
about. No, I just meant in terms of I thought we were going to have because we had
okay.
so many articles. So and we're
We
not
did
running
well,
out of time.
man. We did, folks. This
Yeah.
was like fantastic. You
Yeah, it's
guys
just
are
a little
really,
over 2 hours.
Really funny.
Thank you. I have one thing that I want
Of
to
course
plug
you
in
do.
at the very end here.
Yes.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Go for it.
And it is that now that I live in Portland, Oregon,
Oh.
it has occurred to me.
Don't
that
plug your address.
I won't.
Get yourself
Now
plugged.
that I live on so and so at the corner of such and such on an apartment this number in Portland, Oregon, it occurs to me that I am a 30-minute drive from Boring, Oregon,
Oh.
and I am planning on making it a regular thing to have at least one day a month where I am going out on one of my days off to Boring, Oregon, and basically doing a little travel blog with the intention of giving a lot of character to the town and a lot of like locations to latch onto for people writing Wilson's Wildlife Solutions.
Nice.
That's very cool.
So I want to like go and just kind of tour like every single fucking storefront, and give my little opinions on them, and then go, especially pertinent to Wilson's Wildlife Solutions, go stake out where I think the headquarters actually is, like in physicality, and explore the hiking trails around the town.
Well, that definitely doesn't sound boring.
I hope to do that. I imagine it will be either a very large article or a very long series. Thank you.
We got to keep the Zoomers entertained while you're talking.
So I contemplated talking about that when Real Surreal Sir was asking how to get into a setting, because I was going to be like, well, how to get into this setting.
We go there.
And also talk about, just include like mention of that album you brought out.
I did make an album.
It's really good.
It's from a bit ago. It's from fucking, when was it? It was at least over a year ago.
Yeah,
but
I think it was after 6500.
Yeah, it was.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy with it. It's called Artifice. It's on Bandcamp for $6.
Really
please to go touch it. That would make me very happy. You can also, the album art is beautiful and animated.
It's amazing.
And thank you very, very much to, I hate that I'm blanking on their name. I know them. I know who they are. I know their art.
Changes the name constantly. Yep. Susie
they do.
Or Steph Lynch or
yes. Steph Lynch. Yes, that's at least what they were going by.
She had many names.
Yes, when this album came out. Beautiful animated album art. If you go look up the album on YouTube, you can watch some rain patter against a window during the album. It's wonderful. I guess since that is kind of an old plug, I will also tease out a little bit of music update from me, which is that on my return to the wiki, which I have been planning for a while, and as I said, I've already said, I have about 70,000 words in waiting to post to the website. I mean,
across two articles.
I also am hoping to start accompanying my articles with music.
Ooh.
And in fact, my Gamers Against Weed article, that is at 30,000 words right now, already has a song for it, and it is written and recorded and produced and is going to come out with the article.
Amazing.
And be in the article as an intermission, and I'm hoping to upkeep that as like a theme for articles going forward. I also have a song that I'm going to be putting on my authors page, because when I come back to the wiki, I'm going to update my authors page. Bunch of stuff like that. Cool. I'm very, very excited about it. Of course, there's a wrinkle in my plans now that I am up here in Portland. I have to remake my sound booth, which doesn't really fit in my new apartment space. So I have to like take time out of my schedule to go rebuild something that can work. But I'm very, very excited for that. I have long wanted to put music onto the website, but it has not been in the cards yet, but I think it is now.
Awesome. Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nico, you want to plug anything?
Not really. I don't have anything to plug. The only thing I do want to say is that there will be a tale coming out next year. I think July 13th or 14th. I can't remember. It's the death of Tim Wilson, and look out for that then.
Next year. Nice. A whole year from now.
Yep. I mean, I don't really have anything to plug.
Oh, like fuck you don't. Okay, first of all, you've got an entry in the romance contest that's going on right now. What's that called again?
Nah, it's fine.
Okay, it's called It's Fine, which is a fairly normal kind of title for these sort of things. And Nico also has a series that I have named in my own head as Dr. Everwood Dates the SCP Universe. An ongoing series of tales in which Dr. Everwood has awkward interactions labeled as dates with various characters, which is fantastic because Nico does character work like nobody's business.
That's hilarious.
Check out everything Nico does.
I love that.
And both of your authors' pages, included with ours, will be included in the show description if anybody's curious. In fact, just go do it.
Actually, there is one thing I do want to plug.
Okay, cool.
I Am Ira Watts and You Are the Forest by Floorboards. Very good. It slips between prose and poetry like nothing else. It's really good.
Yeah, it's really cool. And DarkStuff, afterwards, send a link to chat for your album on Bandcamp, and I'll include it in the show description as well.
You know what? I'll send you the YouTube one instead, so that the animation.
You don't want to make any money?
If people want to purchase it, they can go to the description.
Okay, that's fine too. All right. Okay, great. So our show email here is, if you want to send an email in the future, simplycreativepeople@gmail.com. The show's Twitter is at SIMCREAT, and my Twitter is at Grigori Karpin.
At HarryBlank SCP.
All right, great. Let's rimple on out of here.
Ooh.
Oh.